It all began one evening when I went out with some people I thought were my friends. But really, they were my wife's new friends from her gym. We hardly saw our old friends anymore, the ones I liked better. I had missed many such nights lately, but this time I got home from work early and made it. Looking back, my wife Dorothy gave me a strange look, surprised and maybe a little unhappy that I was home. My name is Jeremy. I own a small business that is, if I may say so, very successful. I have over 200 workers. My business works with digital software that I created, and it's protected by patents and licenses, so money isn't a problem. I treat my workers well. I know I should spend less time working and enjoy life more, but I really love what I do. Dorothy and I are both in our early 30s. We met at university and started dating during our last 2 years there. Dorothy is fun to be with. She's about 5'4" and slim with a natural figure. She has long legs that look great in stockings, though she hasn't worn them much lately. She has a nice shape, just enough to hold and enjoy. I never understood the trend of very large figures. She is very attractive to me, but she is careful about how far she goes in our relationship. I stopped trying to push her because it only caused arguments and made her tired and sore for weeks. As we got ready to go out, I was feeling happy. Dorothy spoke softly. "What's making you happy?" I said. "It's been a long time since you wore something like this for me." I wasn't being honest, this was the first time. She was wearing a red dress with matching stockings and a belt. For her, it showed a lot of her figure. I noticed she wasn't wearing a bra, which was new. Her usual underwear was always plain and comfortable. She laughed and said, "Who says it's for you?" I wanted to laugh with her, but her face didn't look like a joke. My smile went away, and I looked at her seriously. "If it's not for me, tell me now. If you're going to throw this back at me, you won't like what happens next." When she saw I noticed something was wrong, she tried to change the subject. "Jeremy, where's your sense of humor? You're hardly ever here. When did we last really talk? We haven't been close for months. Maybe I should find someone else because you don't seem to care about me. I'm just someone to be seen with." I replied, upset. "Maybe if you said yes once in a while, I would try. But since you're never interested, I stopped asking. I shouldn't have to ask at all. And you go out with friends almost every night. Is that why you ignore me?" Neither of us was happy. So the night didn't start well. We were with a group of 8: Don and Tricia, Mike and Yvonne, Derek and Susan, Dorothy and me. Dorothy had just started hanging out with them. I didn't understand why. Our old friends seemed nicer and more like us. These new ones felt shallow. Since I had missed many nights before, I stayed quiet, trying to catch up on what they were talking about. Because I was quiet, they probably thought I wasn't paying attention, especially to Dorothy. She sat between Mike and Derek, very close to Mike. They kept looking at each other, and Mike touched her forearm gently. That upset me, but I held back. Maybe Dorothy was just teasing me after our talk, or it could mean something worse. They all saw I wasn't pleased. After a few drinks, the talk changed. Susan asked, "Can any marriage be just between two people?" I was surprised and almost choked on my drink. They all smiled like they were expecting my reaction. Yvonne said, "It's hard. It depends on the couple. If they share their feelings and trust each other, it might work. If not, problems can come up." Tricia laughed. "Like the other week when a football player spent time with a married woman. The husband wasn't happy. I wonder how they are now." Dorothy laughed too. "He must feel proud that a famous player wanted to be with his wife for a night." The men tried to say, "No, he wouldn't," but didn't sound very sure. The women didn't believe them. Listening, I realized this had all been planned. Their words didn't feel real. I noticed Dorothy was doing something under the table with Mike. He seemed to like it. I was starting to worry that these people really were friends. The conversation stayed focused on them. They all seemed open to playing around. Susan asked me straight, "Jeremy, since you work such long hours, would you be okay if Dorothy had someone else?" I looked at Dorothy. Her face showed she was waiting for my answer. She had set up the question. I looked at everyone and said clearly, "No!" Dorothy frowned, surprised that I said no. She spoke firmly, "It's my body, and I decide who is part of my life. You don't control me." I spoke softly, trying to hide my anger at being tricked. "Dorothy, I agree with what you said, but in a relationship, If you don't care how your actions affect the other person, do you even have a relationship to keep? If you want someone else, I can't stop you. Maybe you already have, like with Mike. The way you've been acting around him shows there's interest. Maybe it's a joke after our fight earlier or a way to show me what you've done or want. Like you said, you are in control. So am I. I will respond in the way I feel is right. If you don't care about me, then our relationship is over. Everyone got upset at me. Susan said with some anger, "You'd throw away all those years if she had someone else. You're never around. She needs someone who can give her love and care." I laughed, but my voice was sharp with anger. "I can do that, but if Dorothy wanted me, she would have talked about this with me at home, not have all of you practice your speeches hoping I would agree so she could keep seeing Mike, and maybe others too, maybe even more. I don't agree with cheating. I have turned down many women because I loved Dorothy and thought she loved me. Now I know I was wrong." The answer to your question is simple. If this marriage goes on, it has already changed for the worse. There is betrayal, hurt, and broken trust. Add their personalities and it becomes a bad mix. He may be with her but won't really care for her. He will only use her. None of you stopped to think about me. You all just followed Dorothy's plan. Maybe you even helped her decide to have an affair. Maybe when I'm not around, you have parties like that. That would explain why Dorothy was upset I got home in time tonight. I ruined her fun. Well, I don't think any of you are friends anymore. Real friends would have told me what was happening. Dorothy, you asked for my answer. You have to make a choice. Just so you know, our marriage has already changed. I stood up and walked away without looking back. As I grabbed my coat, the manager asked nervously, "Are you still paying for everything like usual?" I growled. "They can pay for themselves." I took a taxi home, feeling very angry. I did not expect any of this. No more than 30 minutes later, Dorothy came in, walking fast and upset. "You jerk! Not only did you make me look bad in front of our friends, but you also canceled my card so I couldn't pay tonight." I answered calmly. "They are your friends. They helped you out. Friends tell each other when something is wrong." "I won't pay for them again," she hissed. "You can sleep in the spare room." I laughed and said, "I'm sleeping in my bed. If you don't want to share it, you can go to the other room." Dorothy smiled, but it did not look real. "I got dressed for you. I thought maybe we would be close tonight, but you can forget that now." Yes, I did try to make Mike notice me, but it didn't go any further. He loves Yvonne. She knew what I was doing. I haven't been close to anyone else. I wanted you to stop and think about us. We stopped being a couple. Instead, I got to talk about right and wrong. When you said I never loved you, that hurt. I do love you. I just don't like what we have become. I replied angrily. If you wanted to talk about our problems, you could have told me, suggested counseling. I would have done that. What you did was on purpose. You made it clear you dressed for someone else. You acted like you were interested in another man. You wanted to hurt me and force me to accept this. If you loved me, why would you do that? Dorothy was angry. I hate being alone all the time. I hate that you care more about your work than me. You want me to think about how I hurt you. How about you think about how you hurt me? I do think about it. I don't act with other women in front of you. I refuse all advances. But you showed off to Mike. From what I saw, this was not a one-time thing. You wanted to say, I don't care about you. Dorothy snapped back. It's my body. I decide who I am with, and you don't get a say anymore. She stormed into the bedroom. I followed. Dorothy, you're right. It is your body. You choose who is allowed, but that choice has consequences. If you are with someone else, I will respond with everything I have. If you don't want that, let's get a divorce. Then you can be free to be with anyone you want. I won't live in fear, not knowing who you are with or what problems might come with it. If I asked you or your group the same question, you'd probably be very angry with me for even suggesting it, I said. As she turned away, a thought popped into my head, and I said it right away. I forgot to ask, is the bear look for Mike? Dorothy quickly turned back and said, I did it for me. I will do what I want with my own body. That was almost the last real talk we had until Wednesday. I tried to talk to her the next morning, but she pushed me away, so I didn't try again. I wasn't going to be the one to break the silence. I made sure to get home early every day. I also started taking care of some other things. One day she came in, tossed her car keys at me, and told me to fill her car's tank and add water to the bottle. I usually did that, but this time I told her, do it yourself. You're the one in charge, right? If looks could hurt, I wouldn't be here now. On Friday, I was home by 3:30 p.m. I had spent some time with my lawyers, going over all my options. If she was unfaithful, she would be the one to suffer. Around 6:30 p.m., she came downstairs. She looked good. Her dress fit her closely, and she wasn't wearing a bra. It was short, just above her knees. Her legs were bare. She laughed as she saw me looking. Without saying a word, she happily walked out the door. A couple of hours later, I got a message from Mike on WhatsApp. I opened it before I even realized what it was. It was a photo of Dorothy's back, showing more than just a little of her side. At the base of her spine, near the top of her underwear, was a tattoo. The message asked, "What do you think?" I was very angry. Mike had gotten this photo of Dorothy almost without any clothes, taken at a tattoo salon. I waited a few minutes before answering. Dorothy knew I loved her clear skin and that I didn't like tattoos or piercings. This is the last straw for me. You want to show off your relationship with her and expect me to be okay? I told you this would have consequences. I hope you both know what you want. I sent back my own photos and the divorce papers, with both their names and my signature already on them. I had reached my limit. That photo hurt me deeply. She had changed in a way I didn't accept. I had already thought about moving to a small work apartment we used to use for new employees until they found their own place. I packed some bags and went there. Once I moved in, I started limiting her access to all our accounts, except what she needed for daily life. I put limits on how much she could spend because I knew she was giving money to those friends. I'd already changed all the passwords so she couldn't get in through our home computer. My assistant, Belinda, has been really helpful. She saw how upset and angry I was on Monday and suggested I find someone to talk to about the stress. I have an appointment with a counselor on Monday. To be honest, I don't really know how counseling works yet. I spent the weekend trying to understand how our lives had fallen apart and why Dorothy would treat me like this. I turned off my phone because I didn't want to talk to anyone. I only went outside to pick up some takeout. I don't drink much, so I didn't try to numb the pain with alcohol. On Monday, Belinda was already at the office when I arrived. I raised my eyebrow. She smiled, but it looked more like a forced smile. "Some of us spent the weekend dealing with a very upset wife who couldn't reach her husband," she said. The husband was talking about divorce, which she didn't like. He had even left the house. I agreed to have lunch with her, so I'm making up my work hours, she added. I smiled. "Belinda, you don't have to make up that time. You're doing more than you should." I told her what happened on Friday night. When I mentioned the tattoo, Belinda looked shocked. "She did that knowing how you feel about tattoos?" I nodded. "She knows I hate them. Her skin was perfect before, but now that's changed. We talked about stuff like this when we became a couple. She knows exactly how I feel. She says she has control over her body, who she spends time with, and what happens to her. Honestly, this is the second weekend she's gone out without a bra the first time ever. She even changed other things she knows I liked. It's like she's telling me off." I suggested counseling and couple sessions, but she refused. Instead, she decided to be with someone else. That's what she did Friday night, showing me she didn't care about my feelings. I've had enough. Last week felt like a nightmare. She wants to be with other people and in her way. The tattoo was the last straw. Divorce is the best option. I won't be pushed aside in my own marriage. Belinda looked at me seriously. "Did she ever suggest an open marriage?" "No. I wouldn't have accepted that either," I said. "She was angry when I said I could accept some women who were interested in me," Belinda asked. "Anything you want me to do?" I nodded. "I don't want to talk to her or her friends. Watch what you say. She'll try to turn you to her side. There's no winners here." "What's my day like?" I asked. Belinda went over my schedule. My day would end early at 2:30 when I had my appointment with the counselor. I wasn't sure what I would say. Belinda smiled. "She's very good. She'll have you talking in no time." I had to turn my phone back on, as Belinda reminded me I had some calls coming later that morning. I saw many messages from Dorothy. None said sorry. Most were harsh. I saved them all, including the photo of the tattoo, just in case I needed them later. Belinda came by to remind me about my appointment as she headed out to lunch. I gave her some money before she left. She looked at me and said, "I canceled all of Dorothy's cards that aren't really needed. I also lowered the limits on the ones she still has. She's probably been buying things for her friends and will soon run out of money. So, you'll have to pay." I could see the question in her eyes, but she didn't ask it out loud. I told her, "I'm not paying for her to go behind my back." Belinda spoke softly. "Jeremy, have you asked her directly if she's been unfaithful? Maybe she's trying to shock you or is upset because you've been working so much lately?" I looked at her and said, "Belinda, no. I haven't asked. I'm not sure I want to know yet. I need time to clear my head first. I'm shocked we're here now. I knew things weren't good while I was finishing those last contracts. I told her how important they were and that after they were done, I would have more time for our marriage. Those contracts are starting to pay off at work. I've been getting Donovan, Jill, and Ashley ready to take over so I can step back and be with Dorothy more. I admit I may have some blame, but I'm not shamelessly touching another woman in front of her like she was with Mike." Belinda asked quietly, "What did she say when she came back home that night?" I gave a quiet answer. "It's her body. She decides who she lets close." We argued because she didn't want to accept that her choice hurt me. I insisted she should at least think about how it affected me. We haven't spoken without anger since. That Friday night, she showed off how little she was wearing before she left. After seeing that, I couldn't stay there anymore. I still can't believe she did that. Almost in tears, I wiped my eyes. I grabbed lunch in the cafeteria before going to see the counselor Belinda had chosen. I knew it wouldn't be easy. Belinda wanted me to get better, so she picked someone she thought could help, no matter how tough it might be. The counselor, Sarah, was a bit older and had a kind presence. She started by asking what I thought was wrong between Dorothy and me. I said, "In the last few months, we haven't been talking well at all. Some of it is my fault because of work. But I told Dorothy everything. I said once these contracts are done, I'd have more time for us." I've already been working less, but she still seemed to always be out with new friends, even when I was home. Our relationship stopped being close several months ago. 10 days ago, I got home early, for once, before a night out with her friends. She didn't look happy I was there, but when she got ready, I had to admit, she had made an effort to impress me. When I smiled, she asked why. I told her she had never dressed like that for me before. She replied, "Who says it's for you?" Her face showed me she meant it. We argued, and the night didn't get better. Later that night, she sat very close to Mike. I could swear she was touching him. The table hit her hand, but I could see how her arm moved. Mike looked happy. He was gently holding her arm. Then they started talking about being faithful to one partner. The idea was about letting wives see other people. I did not agree. Dorothy was very upset. She said she was in charge of her own body and she would decide who was with her. I agreed, but said if she was in a relationship, she should think about how her actions affect her partner. She did not like that. We argued. The others took her side. I left and told them they were no longer my friends because they did not respect my trust. They were hiding the fact she was with Mike. She came home about half an hour after I did. She was angry. Usually I paid for everyone, but this time I did not pay before I left. I also stopped her cards from working for 12 hours so she could not use them. She felt embarrassed, like I had felt because of her actions. We argued more, but she did not understand how she hurt me or how it affected what I would do next. We haven't spoken kindly since. I tried to talk, but she refused, so I stopped trying. On Friday, she showed off how little she was wearing as she left the house. About 2 hours later, Mike sent a photo of her with a new tattoo on her lower back. She knew I liked her skin and thought the tattoo would upset me. She wore very little clothing, so Mike and the person who made the tattoo saw much of her body. I never knew she had such underwear. I told her I remembered how I felt about tattoos and said this seemed like she wanted to hurt me. I included papers to end our marriage. I left the house. I could not stay there after that. I turned off my phone. Today, when I turned it back on, there were many texts. All said mean things about me. Not one said sorry or showed regret. Sarah asked, "Do you still love her?" I laughed nervously. "I'm not sure. I'm so angry. I see nothing but us falling apart. How she has been pushing me away with her actions these last months. I'm so tired of this. Yes, I know I am not perfect, but I have never treated her like she treated me." "What do you want to get from this counseling?" Sarah asked. "Belinda, my assistant, said I needed help to look past the anger, to maybe understand what happened, maybe learn how to talk to her to find the truth and fix the problem, and learn from my mistakes to have a better chance at future relationships." You said future relationship. Do you think this one cannot be fixed? I don't know. Sometimes I am so angry I want to leave everything behind. But I also want to know why this happened, and if it can be made better. I have never felt such strong ups and downs before. Belinda asked me if she was trying to shake me up. I don't know, but this feels like the wrong way to solve our problems. Sarah looked down at her notes for a while. She asked softly, "Before things started falling apart, was there anything happening that made either of you feel stressed?" I thought for a few minutes. Dorothy was worried she might not be pregnant. I joked about it, and she got upset with me. I said, "You have to be close for that to happen." I did see some letters from a clinic for her, but when I asked, she would stop talking about it. We haven't been close like that since then. So, she might have had tests done, but is not sharing the results with you. Do you know why she might do that? I guess when we talked before, we both wanted kids. Maybe if she has a problem, she's afraid I might feel differently about her. But I wouldn't. I would help her try to have a baby, and if it didn't work, we could think about adoption if she wanted. We used to talk about everything, but now we hardly speak. Is she seeing anyone, like a counselor, about this? I'm not sure. He'll check bills or records to see if she's been going somewhere. How do you act when you want to be close with her? Do you make decisions for her instead of letting her choose? I never force anything on her. If I tried to start and she said she was tired but wanted a hug, that's what we'd do. Sometimes she would say, "Go ahead, it's been a while." But I refused more times than I agreed. She limits what she's comfortable with. Even when I thought she really enjoyed something, she said she didn't. I asked her if we could try counseling or couples sessions to get back to how we used to be, where we could talk about anything. We didn't always agree, but our talks were calm and respectful back then. Then things went downhill after I got busy with a big business deal. I told her the deal would let us have more time to be together in the end, I said sadly. I guess she didn't want to hear that. How are you feeling about what's happened recently? I'm angry. Angry at myself because I haven't been able to show her how much her actions hurt us. Angry that she doesn't see how being with others could break our marriage. Before we got married, I told her I would never accept that kind of behavior. If she was here now, what would you say? I'd ask her to tell me the whole truth. I want to look at her and see if she really means it. I know the truth might hurt, but lies would only hurt more. If she's honest, then we can think about what comes next. If she says she was only trying to wake you up, wasn't with anyone else, could you still be together? I don't know. There is so much I don't understand. She has done things that made me feel ashamed and question who she really is. I need to understand why she did what she did. If it was because she wanted to hurt me, I don't think we could stay together. And what if she says she was unfaithful? What would you do? I think that leaves me no choice but to end the marriage. I can't live with worries like, why is she late? Who is she with? What problems might come from that? She agreed with me about this before we married. How long have you been married? We've been together 14 years and married for 12. Have you been unfaithful? As a successful man, I'm sure you had chances. Yes, there were chances, even when Dorothy was around, but I said no every time. My mom May had affairs, and it made my dad turn to drinking. He was drunk when he had a bad accident and died. She never admitted what she did to his death. We don't talk much. You said your sex life was not great. How active was it before things stopped? It was pretty simple. I suggested trying new things like role play or going out on dates, but she didn't want that. I tried what she wanted. It didn't happen often, but I thought it was worth the effort. She liked being in control, and I went along with her. If I asked if I could return the favor, she would shut down for a couple of weeks. Did you try other things like being more playful or trying new places? No. To give you an idea, the last 2 Fridays were the only times I knew she didn't wear a bra at home. When I suggested buying nicer underwear, she just gave me a cold look. Her clothes were more like what grandmothers wear. I think most grandmothers have nicer things. Did you ever buy her nicer things? At first, yes, but she never wore them. Our bedroom felt cold for weeks at a time. If your marriage can be saved, would you want to work together to improve your relationship? I would, but I don't think she would agree. Okay, well, start slowly. For now, I want to help you relax better. It will take a few sessions to make a real difference. The goal is to help you stay calm and in control. With practice, you'll be able to manage this on your own. He'll also talk about ways to keep your anger down. She laughed. I don't want you running around upset every time Belinda gets mad at you. I laughed too. I thought I couldn't be hypnotized, but she helped me. While I was calm, she showed me how to relax and let go of anger. It wasn't perfect, but I did feel better. As the session ended, Sarah said, "Love and anger are very close feelings. Your anger comes from how much you care about Dorothy. Spend some time trying what we talked about to lower your anger. If you do that, you might find solutions that don't end everything." Well, meet again on Thursday. Belinda gave me your schedule and some options she could change if needed. I laughed and said, "If I wasn't here, Belinda would run the company better than me." Sarah nodded. "She said that." We both laughed. I was at the apartment trying to decide between takeout or eating out when my phone rang. It was Belinda. "Hi, did you make it through okay?" She laughed. "I'm not sure. She was very polite but clearly upset with you. She got very angry when it was time to pay. I paid." She added, "There was a lot to talk about, and I will have to tell you everything. I can come over to your apartment." I laughed at Belinda mentioning Dorothy getting upset. "Belinda, you've had a long day. Unless it's really important, it can wait until tomorrow. We can close the door and talk then." I added, "Thanks for Sarah. She was just as you said. I've been both challenged and comforted." Belinda laughed back. "Okay, nothing came up that showed what she's doing. I think she cares about you, and your actions have surprised her. See you tomorrow." After eating at home, I checked our accounts. There were some transactions that didn't make sense. I couldn't find the company name anywhere. I planned to have my team look into it. It could be connected to the counseling Sarah mentioned. Looking back through older bills, I found charges from a medical clinic and decided to add those to Sarah's files. I doubted they'd explain much. I checked their website. It was a women's health and fertility clinic. Belinda and I talked about her meeting with Dorothy. She admitted she had told Dorothy how upset I was about the tattoo and that Mike and the tattoo artist had seen a lot of her. Dorothy kept repeating some strange phrases that didn't make much sense. I hadn't spoken directly to Dorothy. She had gotten my mom to call me. It was not a good talk. Mom said Dorothy had needs I hadn't met. Dorothy didn't like me reminding her that when she looked outside our marriage before, it caused serious trouble. I wasn't going to let that happen to me. If Dorothy had needs I couldn't meet, she could accept the divorce and move on. She was free to be with anyone else after that. The week passed slowly or quickly, depending on what I was doing. I had more information to share with Sarah. Without me knowing, Belinda had actually told Sarah more than she had told me. When I met Sarah, I gave her a folder with what my team had found. There was no new information about the women's clinic, but their website showed they worked on reproductive health. The other strange bills were for a counselor who helped women take control of their lives. Her office had strong security because many partners of her clients didn't agree with her approach. It seemed she was known for causing more breakups than fixing relationships. Sarah looked over the papers carefully for a few minutes. She didn't look happy. She looked at me and said sadly, "I have an idea about what might be going on, but to know for sure, I would need a couple of things that I think you might not like. If Dorothy had her health checked and it showed something, she might think you are the problem. We can find out if this is true if you get tested too. I don't agree with another counselor we have. I don't like how she treats men, and I think it hurts the people she helps. There are some complaints about her, and I think she should lose her license. This clinic, which doesn't have a very good name, often sends women there. I think your wife should be tested again at a different place. It would be good if you both could go to the same place at the same time. You could say you are worried because the problem started after she went to that other clinic. The second thing I need to know is more about your relationship. Did you always agree with what Dorothy wanted? Did you do things for her instead of what you wanted? Could she have thought your actions showed weakness instead of love?" I thought for a moment. I guess I did try to make up for not being there by saying yes to most of the things Dorothy wanted. She chose the holidays, which were not the ones I picked when we talked about plans. I went along with her choice of restaurants and hotels. I only said no when she wanted to bring my mother with us. Sarah smiled. "On Monday, you said you never forced yourself on Dorothy? Did you ever try to get her to try new things?" I laughed. "I did try a little, but it didn't work, so I stopped. She doesn't drink much, but sometimes when she did, things were okay between us. I tried to be close with her, but sometimes she pushed me away." Sarah smiled again. Belinda was confused by what Dorothy said. That other counselor talks nonsense. At work, you are strong and well-respected. At home, Dorothy may see you as someone who always agrees with her. That other counselor told her to take control of you. The teasing, the coldness, her behavior with Mike and others. She told Belinda this was the first time you said no to her. She wasn't ready for that. She thought you would always let her have her way. Dorothy may love you and believe she is doing this from love. I have an idea how it might have been explained to her, but I need to talk to her. Can you arrange those tests for both of you and have her come with you next week? I know you won't be happy, but it will help us understand her actions better," Sarah said. I thought about it for a long time. Sarah gave me space because she knew I was struggling with the decision. Finally, I spoke clearly. "I think I see what you are worried about. I know this can't go on. I'll talk to her. I don't know how she will react, but if I have to, I'll make it clear that without her help, divorce might be the only choice. Honestly, the idea of these tests scares me." Sarah smiled gently. "I'd be surprised if it didn't. It's a big step. The thought that something might be wrong with you is hard for anyone. But from what I know, that clinic wasn't very clear or fair. I hope these tests show you both are fine and that the real problem is stress." We spent the rest of the session focusing on my mental health. Sarah ended with some hypnotherapy, and I definitely felt more calm. I was starting to try some of the exercises on my own, too. When I got back to my office, Belinda looked surprised. I told her what Sarah needed and asked if she could help arrange it. Belinda sent me to get coffees while she searched for good labs. She was on the phone when I returned. Smiling, she said, "Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. You'll get the results in 3 days. You have to give them permission to share the results with Sarah. She'll have them by your 4 p.m. appointment." I nodded a lot like a nervous dog. Sarah said she wants Dorothy to be there. I felt like I did when I imagined facing a terrible moment. I had to talk to Dorothy. I called her. The phone rang until it went to voicemail. I don't like voicemail. Speaking slowly, I said, Dorothy, I've been thinking about what started all this. That clinic you went to, I've looked them up. They don't seem reliable. Belinda has set an appointment for both of us with a better place, tomorrow at 10:30. I hope you'll come with me. You can call me or Belinda to say yes or no. I didn't expect her to answer, but if she didn't, I would still get tested for my own peace of mind. Belinda surprised me by hugging me. Jeremy, try not to think the worst. The stress you both were under could have caused this. That's why I make sure you go to the gym, and Ian helps you work out hard to keep stress down. And your new business is doing well, so you could take a break. Maybe a holiday in Croatia or Madeira or both. I laughed. Belinda, you can't fool me. Sarah told me you said you could run this business better than me. Maybe I'll let you try. The only problem is who would replace you. She smiled, her eyes twinkling. Oh, I already have someone in mind for that. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. Her phone rang. It's Dorothy, she said softly. She walked to her office. I only caught the start of the call. Hi, Dorothy, I'm heading to my office so we won't be overheard. I stayed in my office, keeping out of the way. I knew Belinda would tell me what happened. When she did, I'd go to the gym. I was feeling tense. Belinda came back, smiling. After 20 minutes on the phone with Dorothy, I thought she would be frustrated and asking for a big raise. Instead, she spoke calmly. She was not happy about this. I told her you were going to counseling, and the therapist asked both of you to get tested at a good clinic. You think this is a big reason why you two separated. By having the tests done together and seeing the results together, you can talk about what comes next. She finally agreed, but you need to pick her up. She has no gas for her car because her cards were canceled or maxed out. I think her food supply is low too, since she can't afford groceries. You're going to hear about that tomorrow. Belinda added, she mentioned she had to cancel her therapist because she couldn't pay. I told her you would take her to meet your therapist, so you both hear the results at the same time. She wasn't happy with that at first, but I told her the therapist is one of the best in marriage counseling. Other counselors sometimes focus on bad parts, but this one works on the good love couples have. If she can't help you assuming you want help, then no one can. I thanked Belinda and left. I had a lot to think about, but the one thing I really didn't want to think about crowded my mind. I suddenly realized I couldn't remember the last time I was alone with my thoughts in that way. Would I be able to reflect deeply, or just barely at all? I went to the gym, where Ian made sure I pushed myself. As I caught my breath, I asked, does Belinda pay you extra for making me work so hard? He laughed. No, it's just part of the job. I laughed too. After I finished, he took me to his office. Jeremy, here are your results from when you started 8 months ago until now. Until the last 2 weeks, your blood pressure had been going down. It's up just a little now, but nothing like before. Your body weight is now in a healthy range. You lost 21 pounds even while building more muscle. You took the bleep test and lasted 18 more runs than before. Your lung strength is up, and your heart health is very good. If you had blood tests when you started and again now, I'm sure your results would show big improvements. I'd expect them to be in the good to great range. All this work has made a big difference to your body, and I'd say your mind too, since physical health and mental health are connected. I looked at the papers. He wasn't lying. Ian, I can't thank you enough. I see now where I was heading. You've helped me become a much better person than I ever was. How can I thank you? Ian looked at me and said, Jeremy, there are many people waiting for physical therapy sponsored by SNHS. The poorest often can't get it because it costs too much. We have the chance to offer it to many people here for free. It won't affect any of our staff or classes. I watched him closely. I could see the pride he had in his team and his wish to improve the lives of others. Ian, if you help me go from doing nothing to this, you can do amazing things for those who need help. Talk to Belinda. She can get some others to help her talk with hospitals and doctors to make this happen. It's a great plan. I know you're busy, and the gym closes at certain times. If you are thinking of using the gym during those closed hours without pay, don't worry. If any staff work extra, the company will pay them. Knowing Belinda, she probably knows many families of the staff who could use this. So you can start with them. I shook his hand. He was surprised I accepted right away, but I do like to help people. That night, I slept very well. The next morning, I woke early and went to my old home. I rang the doorbell. Dorothy didn't seem happy to answer. Her voice was cold. You could have just come in. It's your home, too. I spoke quietly. Dorothy, I wanted to be polite. If the roles were switched, I wouldn't want you to come in without asking. She looked at me and asked, Why did you leave? Dorothy, I left because I couldn't take the way you treated me anymore. What you were doing and saying was hurting us. You were clearly angry with me. The tattoo was the last thing I could accept. Sarah, my therapist, noticed things got worse when you wrote to that clinic. It's not well thought of. She said something they said made you doubt us. I know that 8 months ago I was struggling. Thanks to Belinda and Ian, I'm a very different man now. I've lost weight, gained muscle. My blood pressure is better and more. I hope I do well on today's test. I don't like having to provide that kind of sample. I don't think they help you with it either. I know it's hard for you too because you have more detailed tests. I'm really sorry about that. If the clinic you used was good, I would have done the tests myself. She asked quietly, What do you think this will help with? Sarah has some ideas about what might have happened between us. She won't explain more until she sees the results. She wants you to come with me so she can look into things with both of us. I think she hopes the results will help us understand what we both want, one way or another. She smiled a little. Do you like Sarah? I smiled back. She's very kind. She cares a lot and wants to help couples get better. There are times when she makes me cry. She won't accept lies. Lies are harmful, so we have to be honest with each other. I know we will both say things that hurt, but if we want a future, we have to work together and fix what went wrong. How does she see relationships? She thinks both people are equal. No one is boss. We both have the same rights. It's okay to disagree, but we must be respectful and try to help, not hurt. She already showed me where I have let you down. So how does she want to fix us? I don't know. I think we'll both find out on Tuesday if you want to fix things. For once, Dorothy was honest. I don't know. I feel all mixed up. I said, Me too. At the clinic, we were taken to different rooms. A young nurse told me what to do. I felt shy, like a boy seeing something new for the first time. She was kind and helpful. She said, Many men have trouble because of the situation. We have some magazines and videos that might help. Some men think about a favorite moment with their partner to help. Picture it gently and how she feels. If you reach the point, try again if you can. When you're done, lift the phone and I will come get everything. The magazines didn't help, so I thought about Dorothy in my mind. It helped me finish quickly. I tried again and it worked too. It took a bit longer the third time, but I kept going until I felt all the stress leave me. It took 27 minutes in total. Ian would have been proud of my effort. When I finished, I lifted the phone. The nurse smiled and took the container, which was more than half full. She asked, The wife? I nodded. I waited in the reception until Dorothy came out. She looked very tired. I tried to hug her, but she didn't want me to. Since it was lunchtime, I said, Let's go have lunch. She agreed. I knew her favorite place, but I drove to a new restaurant, somewhere fresh with no memories for us. The place was quiet, and the food was very good. Dorothy asked, When did you find this place? I didn't. I thought a new place would be better, somewhere neutral for us. I asked, How was it for you? You looked worn out when you came out. I know women complain about their screenings. My mom said if they did men's checkups like hers, there'd be a new system in a month. Dorothy laughed. Sounds about right. I have to admit, they were very good. They told me everything they were going to do and used a special spray to numb the area when needed. It was much better than the last place. Besides you and the doctors, no one else has seen my private parts. How did your visit go? I laughed and said, The nurse was amazing. She told me men usually find it easier. It worked. I felt really good 3 times in all, and I filled more than half the tub. Dorothy laughed. 3 times? We never managed that. I smiled. Well, this time it happened. She looked curious. Come on, tell me. What were you thinking about? I smiled back. The nurse told me to think about how you and I make love, maybe one of your fantasies and how you react. I pictured having you close in a way I've always wanted. Just thinking about you made me feel so good, I reached my limit fast, twice even. Then I started again. It was definitely quite a workout. Dorothy looked surprised. You've never told me you wanted to do any of that before? I replied. I tried to talk about it, but you always seemed distant or upset for weeks after. I wanted to explore things with you like you did with me, but you said no. I guess I should have been clearer, but I was afraid of pushing you too much and losing you. Her expression showed she didn't expect that I was worried about losing her. I went on. We never talked openly about our feelings because you'd shut me down, and I didn't want to start fights. I wasn't happy, and I don't think you were either. I didn't know how to say what I really needed without upsetting you. Sarah thinks she can help us, but it's going to take a lot of work. You might have made up your mind already. I can't make those choices for you. It has to be what you want. Dorothy looked straight at me. You said our marriage had changed. What do you mean? I thought about avoiding the truth, but then remembered Sarah's advice. Lies don't help. Dorothy, the whole situation showed me how far apart we have grown. I hoped that with work going well and spending more time at home, we could rebuild what we had. But I was home and you weren't really there. When I said it had changed, I meant we had to change how we did things. We couldn't just go back to how it used to be. Honestly, I wasn't sure I even wanted that. If we had any hope, our relationship needed to become something new and better, not by seeing others or having an open marriage, but by talking more, being closer, and really loving each other. When you came home and we argued, I didn't hear you say we had to change together. It was all about you. I felt so sad because you didn't seem to care about how I felt. That week was really hard. The coldness between us felt like it could freeze the whole world. Then on Friday night, you left and acted like you were ready to be with someone else. When he sent that tattoo picture, it was too much for me. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to leave. I knew you would try to contact me, but I couldn't talk to you. If I had shown my anger, I didn't think we could survive. When I saw your messages, I got even angrier. Sarah has helped me see that maybe there is hope, but it needs both of us to work on it. Neither of us are ready right now. She thinks these tests helped us see our fears. She said you didn't like what the other clinic told you and you just reacted without talking. Instead of fixing the problem together, we ignored it. Dorothy looked at me. If you don't want what we had, what do you want? I looked into her eyes and saw her pain. Dorothy, whatever we do, it has to be about both of us. Maybe we are both hurt so badly that we can't get past this. Maybe we can only be friends, just able to be around each other. Sarah helped many couples like us start fresh, build a life together, and have a good relationship. Some couples can't be fixed, but she feels hopeful about us. She said my anger was so strong because my love for you was strong. She is helping me let go of the anger and focus on love. You have the same say as me. If you want to work on our marriage as equal partners, we might get through this. To me, what you were doing and suggesting was not fair or kind. It wasn't love. We need honesty, but I'll let Sarah explain that herself. She thought carefully before answering. Sarah seems good for you. Belinda told me she found someone to help you. I should have known she would choose someone good. I need to hear what she says. What you say and how you respond to me won't be easy. She looked down. Then a firm look came to her face. Why did you cancel or limit all my cards? I looked at her and said clearly, I wasn't going to pay for you to waste money on other people. I left you enough money for what you needed. If you spent it all, I guess you used it for meals and lunches like normal. When you ran out, did any of those people offer to pay or help you? Dorothy looked down. Before she could say anything, I went on. Have you seen any of your old friends? The ones who always wanted to pay their share? You pushed them away for new friends who just shine on the surface. Why? Those old friends were real. I'll take you where you want to go. I'll fill your car and buy groceries. Please think about our future and what kind of friends you want. We left the restaurant. When we got in the car, I called Belinda. She had everything under control so I could take the afternoon off. Dorothy and I laughed. When I finished, I told Dorothy, she might take my job. The problem is, she might do it better than me. Dorothy didn't disagree. I took Dorothy shopping for groceries, and when I dropped her off at her house, I used her car to fill it with gas. When I got back, she invited me in for coffee. We talked for about half an hour about different things that didn't include ourselves. Then I left. I agreed to pick her up for Tuesday's meeting with Sarah because she felt too upset to drive. If needed, I would pay for a taxi to take her home, but I didn't tell her that. The weekend felt very slow, and Monday was the same. Too soon, Tuesday arrived, and it was time to leave and pick Dorothy up. Sarah welcomed us inside. After introductions, she explained to Dorothy how she worked and what she needed from everyone involved. Dorothy agreed to take part as asked. Sarah smiled and said, "Dorothy, what do you hope to get from the sessions we have?" Dorothy looked unsure. "I don't know. I do love Jeremy, but I'm not sure if that's enough to fix what we had. I don't want us to be angry at each other all the time. My feelings are all over the place. What happened was so unexpected. My counselor said Jeremy would be happy to have me make all the decisions because he followed me so much. His angry way of leaving was such a surprise. I did what she told me to do, so how did it go so wrong?" Sarah smiled. "Let's start with why you went to the first clinic." Dorothy looked uneasy. "Jeremy and I had been trying for a baby for a long time. I met Yvonne and Susan at the spa, and we started talking. They were different from my usual friends, very open. One day I was upset because my period had started. They noticed and asked, and I foolishly told them about our situation. Susan knew about this clinic, and they convinced me to get tests. My results showed nothing wrong with me. I was going to tell Jeremy, but the clinic told me to talk to their counselor first, who would help me get ready for that conversation. Susan and Yvonne told me to listen to her advice. I did. The first couple of talks felt strange because she asked about our personal life as well as my test results. I felt uneasy talking about how poor our relationship was. I knew it was mostly my fault. As I told her how I rarely let him have more say, she said Jeremy's quiet way meant he wanted me to take charge more. Each session focused more on this. Eventually, she said, since Jeremy's fertility might be the problem, I could try being with someone else to have a child. If I picked someone who was like Jeremy, he wouldn't know the baby wasn't his. I couldn't do that to him, but she kept pushing me. My new friends were telling me to go ahead. She started explaining how to change our marriage and take control. First, she said to refuse him intimacy. That was not hard, because he had already stopped asking. Honestly, I couldn't face him because I knew what she said was wrong. After each meeting, I felt angry at myself, but over time, I started to agree more. Jeremy liked to tease me in small ways, so I made a change to show I was in charge. After a big work deal was done, he tried to come home at normal times. I went out more to show I was in control. He didn't try hard to stop me. This fit the counselor's idea that he wanted me to take the lead. He wanted me to make the choices since he made decisions at work. Everything got worse when Jeremy saw that the talks weren't real and left in anger. This was not the gentle Jeremy I knew. This was a very upset version of him, one I had never seen before. When we argued later at home, every word he said was sharp and true. I tried to claim I should be in charge, but I knew he was right. I didn't want to admit it. The counselor told me my own fears were stopping me. She said I had to push harder, so the next Friday I did. Jeremy left me and sent divorce papers. I understood why. From his side, I agreed. What I was doing was more than what we had agreed on. I have hurt him so much. I don't know if he can forgive me or if we can build a new kind of relationship. Dorothy was crying as she spoke. Sarah handed her some tissues. I was angry at her for believing that bad advice. I wanted to speak, but Sarah stopped me. She spoke softly. "Dorothy, the clinic gave you bad advice. Every clinic I've worked with wants both people to be checked because many things can affect fertility. They should have told you to talk with Jeremy first. I know that was hard, especially then when your feelings were raw. The counselor you saw does not respect men. She is about to lose her license because she pushes harmful ideas. Many marriages have been hurt by her. She took advantage of you when you were weak, and over time pushed you to think in her way. Your new friends were happy to see you confused. They supported her advice, which put your marriage at risk. I know from talking with Jeremy, he loves you deeply. That's why he is hurt. You are hurt too, because you see what happened to both of you. I can help. I can't fix everything with a simple trick, but I can guide you both to a path you want. It will be hard. Dorothy looked at her sadly. I want to try, at least to be friends, even if I've made things very hard. Sarah smiled. We can do that. Let's go back to the very start. What did you first think of each other? I laughed. Sarah looked at me. Sorry, but Dorothy is beautiful. When she walked into the room with her blonde hair, I noticed her right away. She wore simple clothes, yet she seemed very attractive. At first, I just wanted to be close to her. She turned down a few boys, but for some reason, she talked to me. As we talked, I started to see her differently. She was smart, funny, and could keep a good conversation going. I decided she was someone special, so I didn't rush anything. Soon I fell deeply in love with her. Dorothy looked at me with a small smile. I didn't want to be at that party at all. My friends made me go. The boys were only looking at me because of how I looked. I'm not sure many noticed my eye color. Jeremy was the only one who looked me in the eyes. His smile felt real, and I could see kindness in him. That made me feel calm while we talked. I liked him, and even though we didn't always agree, we had respectful talks. I knew within 5 minutes that he was someone worth knowing. After a few weeks, I couldn't imagine life without him. Sarah smiled. How soon did you start talking about your future? Did you talk about having kids or loyalty? Dorothy's voice grew soft and a little sad. Almost right away, we talked about those things. We both wanted children. I have 2 sisters, and I love spending time with my nieces and nephews. They never asked me when I would have kids, but I know my mother was waiting. Jeremy told me how his mother felt about these things, and he wouldn't accept a relationship without trust. I agreed completely. I knew how special Jeremy was, and I didn't want anyone to come between us. I added, I was in love with her even before I left her that night. It felt natural to talk about our future. I love children and their view of the world. I hope to be a good father, like my own father was before things went wrong between my parents. What happened to my dad broke my heart, and I promised never to allow that to happen again. Sarah looked thoughtful. What you just said gives me hope that you can reach what you want. We have a lot to talk about, but I think it's time to bring up something important. I have your test results from the clinic here. I can tell you the results or give them to you so you can look for yourself. You can also share your results with each other if you want. Dorothy spoke softly. I would like to see mine, please. After everything that happened at the clinic, I need to be sure the results are right. I nodded. Sarah gave us each our papers. I was more nervous than when I opened my school results. It took a little time before I understood I was able to have children. I let out a big breath, and I think it was loud enough for people nearby to hear. Sarah smiled at me. Dorothy finished reading hers and gave it to me. I gave her mine. She began to cry as she read the letter. Why? Why didn't I talk to you? If I had, maybe we could have avoided all this. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to start the conversation because they told me you couldn't have children. I thought it would hurt your feelings if I said it before you saw the counselor. Why did I listen to them? I went to her and gave her a hug. Dorothy, we both missed chances to talk honestly. Sarah can help us. We knew this would be hard. Sarah smiled. When Dorothy calmed down, I sat down. Sarah asked, what has changed in the last 6 months between you and inside you? I replied quickly, I'm no longer just sitting around. Belinda had Ian put me to work at the gym. He showed me the progress. My health is much better. My blood pressure went down, my weight is good, my heart and lungs work well. Hez pleased with me but still pushes me hard because Belinda makes sure he does. Both my body and mind feel better, even with how tough the last 3 weeks have been. Dorothy spoke quietly. I've been eating better and exercising too. I lost weight where I needed to. Jeremy might be glad some things haven't changed, even though he hasn't been close to me for months. My mind isn't in a good place. I keep thinking about not having Jeremy's children. It makes me very sad to imagine not having kids to play with or hold on my knee. It feels like Jeremy is broken inside because he can't be a father. I spend a lot of time crying or going out to keep my mind off it. I see now that all this pain was probably avoidable. Sarah made notes. I looked at the clock and realized our time was almost over. She noticed. You're the last pair I have today. I thought we might need more time. Most of today was positive, but the next questions need honesty above all. Your answers will decide what happens next. Telling lies only delays things but won't fix anything. Sarah turned to Dorothy. I know what made Jeremy the most angry. What made you the most angry? Dorothy paused for a few minutes before answering. If I'm honest, it was when I found out I couldn't have Jeremy's children. My whole world fell apart. I always imagined us having kids, playing together, being grandparents. Learning that I could have kids, but Jeremy couldn't made me so angry. My dreams were broken. I think it was also that night when he last tried to be close to me. I was upset and kept him at a distance for a long time. I said all the things I thought would help, using some of the few dreams we once shared. I pushed him past what he usually could handle because I was so angry at him. Why did he want to be close when he couldn't help us have children? That anger was always there, just under the surface. But when I saw his medical results, I finally understood what the feeling was. I just knew something was wrong and blamed him. I guess those feelings made it easier for the counselor to help me accept things I wouldn't have before. To be the one in control! Sarah's face showed no sign of emotion. Dorothy, was there anything else causing your anger? Dorothy smiled a little. It was during the big business deal. He was hardly ever home before 9 at night and left early at 7 in the morning. If I could hold him back for just a few minutes to talk, I felt his tired frustration. He didn't really want to talk to me. All I got were empty words. He said when the deal was done, we'd spend time together, making up for what we missed. I didn't believe him. There was always another deal waiting. I felt ignored, not important, and very lonely. If I asked about the deal, he would shut me down. We had talked about his work a lot before. I gave him ideas sometimes, and he listened at times, but I still felt left out. Dorothy took a moment. I started to see Belinda not as just his assistant, but like someone I was competing with. Belinda knew more about Jeremy than I did, or so I thought. I began to exercise to feel better about myself, hoping to get his attention. I even thought about buying nicer underwear to feel more confident, but then I wondered why I should since he didn't seem to care about me anymore. So I never bought any. Sarah asked softly, Is there anything else that caused your anger? Dorothy looked sad. He did try to be better, like he said he would. He came home earlier more often and tried to talk with me, but I went out most evenings and he never stopped me. It made me feel even more distant from him. When I left, I often cried because he hadn't tried to ask me to stay. That probably built up a lot of the anger I had toward him, especially before the big argument we had on Friday. Sarah smiled gently. I'm not going to talk about the last few weeks right now. We need to talk about that later, carefully. But there are some important questions I have to ask you. Have you been close to anyone else besides Jeremy since you've been together, especially in the last few months? Dorothy took a deep breath and looked at her. No, I haven't been with any other man but Jeremy. He was my first, and he's the only one who has ever been close to me, apart from medical checkups. Even then, I try to have female staff with me whenever I can. Sarah asked another question. Jeremy said you knew he didn't like tattoos. Why did you have one, especially one like a saddle tramp tattoo? Dorothy smiled and stood up, turning around. She let her skirt fall, showing the small underwear she wore. There was no tattoo, only a faint mark where one might have been. She looked back at Sarah. I'm sorry, that was a harsh thing to ask. I know how you feel about it. The thought of those needles makes me shiver. The counselor wanted me to push you harder to let me take charge. Yvonne had found a fake tattoo, done with henna. That means something bad. It was supposed to get a strong reaction from you, but Mike was never there. Yvonne even asked me to take off my clothes for that. Dorothy stopped, shaking her head. That was unnecessary and cruel. She made me wear her tiny thong because my underwear didn't look right. She put the tattoo on my back and the thong showed it off better. She helped me pose, then took the picture. After she showed it to me, I was surprised at how much skin I was showing, but I understood it was needed to get your attention, to give me some control. I knew the idea of Mike seeing so much of me, almost naked, and the tattoo would make you react strongly. We added the caption, After the week I had been through, I thought you deserved this. My mind was telling me I was risking our marriage, but I was caught in the moment and didn't stop to think before I pressed send. We deleted the photo right away. I made sure there were no copies like you showed me. I was just getting dressed when you replied. The counselor said I should expect a mild reaction, but your reply was very angry. When we opened the photos and saw the divorce papers, I was devastated. I had made a big mistake. Finally, my mind and I connected as I realized all the wrong things I had done. I cried for over an hour. When I came home, you were gone. I felt completely alone. We have only talked twice since then, once on test day and once today. After we talked on Friday, I read through my texts and WhatsApps again. I saw my anger but no love. I never once said sorry for hurting us. I only blamed you. I cried until I had no more tears left. Jeremy, I'm so sorry. I wish I had talked to Belinda, not Susan and Yvonne. She would have helped us find the right clinic, and Sarah, nothing like this would have happened, I said. Sarah spoke gently. Dorothy, do you still feel like you are the only one in control of your body? In control of Jeremy? I looked at Sarah and said, no. I knew deep down it wasn't what I wanted, but my anger made me listen to others. Jeremy said you suggest equal partners in the relationship, and I want that. I want us to talk like we used to. Sarah asked, is there anything else you would add to your wish list? I blushed a little. Jeremy mentioned having a better closeness between us. I want that too. I've stopped him from trying new things because I was afraid, and then I felt bad afterwards. I wanted more. On Friday, he told me how the nurse helped him with a difficult test. I wished I could be that kind of support for him. Sarah smiled. It sounds like there's more to talk about. I suggest we meet twice a week at first. We'll focus on helping you talk better so you both understand each other. That will help improve your closeness. I also think individual sessions will help, until each of you feels grounded and clear about what you want. I asked quietly, have you asked Jeremy if he wants to keep coming to these sessions? Sarah smiled warmly. Yes, he wanted this. Over the next few weeks, you will see how much he cares for you, and he will see how much you care for him. Meanwhile, don't worry about the past. Look ahead, Sarah said gently. Dorothy asked, can I ask Jeremy to come back home? He'll sleep in the guest room if he wants. Can we make love? Sarah smiled and replied, it's up to Jeremy if he wants to come back. It's okay if he needs a few days to think, and you do too. Your feelings are all over the place right now. About making love, it has to be something you both want freely. You can't offer it just to feel better. It needs to be because you truly want to share that moment with him. Dorothy's face turned bright red like never before. I don't know. I want him to do what he once dreamed about, the same thing that made him feel so happy at the clinic. When he told me, I felt like tearing off my clothes right in the restaurant and just being with him there. Sarah laughed softly. I was surprised. This was not the Dorothy I knew. Sarah asked quietly, have your thoughts about these things changed since everything happened? Dorothy looked nervous. Yes, they have. It's been overwhelming. I always held back my feelings before. I'm sorry, Jeremy, but when I was with Mike, I kept thinking of you, your face, your anger, but also jealousy. I imagined you taking control, telling me off, and showing how much you cared. I thought about how you might have acted if you hadn't walked away. At home, I felt I would have done anything you asked if you had come to me. Each night, I waited for you to reach out. I thought of ways to make you happy but didn't do them. I should have for all these years. I want help to learn how to do those things you want. Sarah smiled warmly. Dorothy, you're not alone. What happened made your feelings rise up. Jeremy's thoughts touched something inside you. It's important to be honest about what you want. Because you pushed your feelings away for so long, it feels strong now, almost like it's too much. I will help you take control. Jeremy will explore his feelings with us. If Jeremy comes home, I suggest starting slowly, simple moments together, trying different places in the house. Imagine a wish you have for yourself in each room, not just what Jeremy might want. We'll talk about those ideas when the time is right. There will be a moment when you feel ready for the kind of closeness you dreamed about. The right time will come, just like when you first became close. Going too fast could cause problems. You'll know when it's right. If there's nothing else, we can finish here for today. We talked about a lot. You will need time to think about everything. When you do, try not to judge yourself or Jeremy. Just listen and be patient. Understanding takes time. With love, you will succeed. As we left, Dorothy asked, do you want to come home? I can make dinner or just drop me off. I smiled. A home-cooked meal sounds nice, but I think we should eat out and let someone else do the cooking. It has been a really hard day for me, and I'm sure it was even harder for you. We had a pleasant dinner. At the end, I spoke quietly. Dorothy, I won't be coming home tonight. I saw sadness in her eyes. When I first saw Sarah, I spent the days after thinking about all the feelings it brought up and how I reacted. It was very emotional. I cried a lot. I think you need time and space to do the same. I probably will, too. I think Sarah was right. We need to focus on what matters most. Our love will help us get through this if we take our time to heal, listen, and learn. Honestly, the only thing in my mind right now is you as my special hope. Dorothy laughed softly. You're probably right. My feelings are all over the place, but I hope I can be there for you soon. I dropped her off and went back to my apartment. Sitting down, I felt completely drained. The thought of Dorothy gave me hope, so I called her to set up our next meeting. She had been crying when I picked her up. She looked at me and said, "You were right. I needed that time to take in everything we talked about. I've been a mess." Sarah greeted us and asked, "How have you both been?" I said quietly, "The last few days have been hard. I realized I missed many chances to talk deeply with Dorothy. I didn't notice her body language. Her words didn't reach me like before. I was so focused on that deal I pushed her away, just like she said. If I had been more caring Jeremy instead of business Jeremy, we might have avoided all this." I felt a little embarrassed. Still, I keep thinking about Dorothy being my special hope. It gives me strength and hope we can do better. Sarah asked, "Dorothy?" Dorothy looked nervous, her voice shaky. Jeremy didn't come home but told me why. He was right. The last few days have been a wild ride. I see hope and a future, but then I fall into sadness, feeling like everything is over. I've cried more than I thought I could. She looked at Sarah, then at me, her face serious. I need to be honest with you both. Sarah asked about my anger, and I told you part of it, but that wasn't the whole truth. As I thought about it all, I realized I was not honest with you. Underneath my anger, I was struggling with myself. My conscious and unconscious thoughts were fighting inside me. I don't think I really knew how much the fight during the therapy was also a fight inside me. I know now I didn't feel peace for months until we talked on Tuesday. Jeremy probably felt like I was pulling away from him because I was short and quick to blame him. I don't know why I acted that way. "I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you. I know only the truth can help us," I said. Sarah smiled and said, "Dorothy, you didn't lie. On Tuesday, we gave you a chance to look inside yourself. That helped you learn this. This struggle shows a part of you wanted to do the right thing. Understanding that will help us going forward. Sometimes we don't know what feelings we keep hidden." You could see Dorothy felt better hearing that. I spoke gently. "Dorothy, like Sarah said, you're not alone. I noticed we started drifting apart earlier than we thought. During our time together, you have been the one trying to fix things between my mom and me. Your family is close and loving, and you want that for us too. About a year ago, you talked about going to Greece to see the ancient places. I love old Greek stories. I was interested until you said you wanted my mother to come too. She loves Greece, Sarah, you said. You kept pushing me, saying it would help us find a better relationship again. I think that's when I started to stop really listening to you. That was the first crack. Later things just made it worse." Sarah wrote notes. "You've talked about your mom a few times. I think we should speak more about that in our private talks. You might think you have your feelings about her under control, but you are still hurt. You're right. Something happened that caused a crack, even if it was small. Like frozen water in a crack, it grew bigger as your work, the clinic, and counseling all touched on it. The rest of the session was about how we talked to each other, what things we didn't like hearing or seeing in the other's face. When we finished, we both felt tired and hurt in many ways. We went out to eat again. It was nice. We talked about other things. Dorothy surprised me during coffee. She said calmly, "Jeremy, I'm not asking you to come back home yet. You were right about our feelings, and I think today's session will affect me for a few days. I will see Sarah on Monday morning." "I hope so too," I said. Even though she was tough on us at times, she gave me hope that we can make it. Not the same as before, but changed, maybe better. I didn't know how some of the ways I spoke to you sounded like I was brushing you off, especially when we talked about your family. I really need to think about that and how you responded. I think Sarah was right when she said we should do things together, like this. And that brings me to a question and a request. The question is, I knew you liked touching me, but we'd never been this close before. You once shared a daydream about us, but you didn't say how you pictured me. Would you like to try something new? If you do, I'm happy to keep things fresh for a while. You can tell me what you think later. I'm okay with either way. I paused, unsure. I hadn't thought about it much. I guess trying something new could be nice. It'd be different for both of us. What's your idea? I asked. She smiled, her cheeks pink. I want us to go shopping together. It's for something we'd both enjoy. I think I know what you like, but I want your opinion. If my guess is wrong, just say so and we won't get it. What is it? I asked, curious. She grinned. It's a surprise, a little mystery to make it fun. Also think of a fun activity we could do together. Now I was the one blushing. When we pulled into the driveway, she leaned over and kissed me. It was gentle but full of feeling. She seemed nervous as she spoke. If you want, come inside. We can spend some time together. I'd love to feel close to you. I was surprised. Dorothy usually liked keeping things private. As I thought it over, she started unbuttoning her shirt. Passers-by might notice, but she just smiled, her fingers moving slowly. I wish I'd worn something nicer for you. Maybe we could have been closer when we were dating. We can start fresh now. I stared, caught off guard. She slipped off her jacket, still smiling. It's up to you, she said softly. Let's go inside, I said quickly. Dorothy's smile grew and she walked slowly to the house, leaving her shirt open. She made sure I noticed her at every step. Inside, she glanced at the hallway corner and smiled. That's for another day, she said. Wait in the living room. You'll be right there. When she returned, she looked radiant. Her eyes were nervous but warm. I'm ready for you to be close, she said, settling on the couch. Do what feels right. I sat beside her, gently touching her arms. She seemed so open, so trusting. She sighed happily. I love this. Why did we ever stop? I leaned closer and she let out soft sounds of joy. Each moment felt new, different from anything we'd shared before. She moved with me, her happiness clear. Jeremy, this is wonderful, she said, her voice full of emotion. Soon she was lost in the moment, her joy spilling over. She held me close, breathless. That was amazing. If you want to keep going, I'm here. I kissed her gently, exploring her warmth. She smiled, relaxed, and happy. When I looked up, her eyes were closed, her face glowing with a big smile. I kept going, and soon she was trembling with happiness again. I held her as she caught her breath, her face bright with joy. She turned to me, her eyes shining. That was incredible. I didn't know it could feel this good. She shifted, leaning against the couch. You've always liked being close this way. Do what makes you happy. I'm here for you. I moved closer, feeling her warmth. It was slow and gentle, and we felt closer than ever. Dorothy spoke loudly. That feels amazing. Touch me as much as you want. Use me. We were very close together. I moved fast, like a racing car going full speed. My hands held her chest. Soon, I felt like I was about to reach my limit. I held her steady and gave all my energy to her. Then I relaxed on top of her. Dorothy sighed softly. That was really good. She moved gently against me. Soon I felt ready again. She said, Jeremy, in a few weeks your wish will come true. Get me ready now, please. I did. I was sure my heart was beating very fast. Even though I had just finished, being close to her again made me ready once more. This time I stepped back. Dorothy stood up and gave me a warm hug. Thank you, I really needed that. I think you did too. It'll make us some coffee. I want to hold you for a little while if that's okay. I said yes and sat down. My thoughts were all over the place. Dorothy came in with our drinks. She wasn't wearing any clothes. That was unusual for her. We held each other carefully as we drank. My hand found her chest again. She kissed me gently. I missed this. We stopped being so close like this. She kissed me once more. I could tell I was ready again. Dorothy smiled and said, I'm impressed. I made a part of your wish come true. I want to be close to you, face to face. Would that be okay? How could I say no? It was slower and full of care. I saw the love in her eyes. She touched my face and back gently and played with my chest. I kissed her face and neck softly, which I knew she loved, then her chest. Soon, things became more passionate again. I don't really remember how it ended, but I felt very strong feelings. Dorothy was happy just before I was. We held each other until we felt calm. I told her to stay as she was for a little while. Everything about her was wonderful, and it seemed to make her feel even better. I got dressed while she put on a robe. I was surprised when she kissed me before I left. Her robe was loose, so anyone passing could see she wasn't wearing anything underneath. She kissed me one last time and said, "Thank you. I needed to know we could still be close, that I could be more than I was before. This is a good start for me. I hope you liked it." I answered, "It was the best we ever had. The best I ever had. If Sarah helps us make it even better, we'll be very happy." Back at my place, I struggled to understand everything that happened that day and how close we had become. Sarah said it wouldn't be simple, and she was right again. The next day, Belinda noticed I seemed happier than before. I said the therapy was helping, but her look made me think she knew the real reason. On Saturday, I arrived at 9:30 in the morning, and we went to the mall. I wondered what she wanted, but she was just playing around. After Thursday night, I hoped maybe she would pick some nice clothes or something special for going out together. As we got closer to the mall, Dorothy asked, "Have you thought about the role-play ideas I asked you about?" I looked at her quickly. The road was busy. "Yes, I have. I couldn't decide between you as a nurse or some other ideas. I had at least 8 or 10 different thoughts. Sarah said you don't have to do any of them if you don't want to. What about you? What role-play would you like me to do?" Dorothy blushed. "I'm not sure. I have a few ideas that keep coming back. I want to talk with Sarah about those and other things when we are ready. I've kept a lot inside, and am scared I might not handle the feelings or that I might mess up if I try something new. After Thursday night, I really found it hard to deal with what happened. I was upset with myself for not understanding how you felt about your mom. I know that almost broke us. Maybe when you and Sarah talk, you can share your thoughts with me too so I can understand better and not make the same mistakes. I loved our time together. It was strong and different, but also full of care. I've thought about it a lot. I want more moments like that. Feeling like I made you happy helped me, but I know I still have much to learn." At the mall, Dorothy went to a store and asked a worker for help. The worker talked with her, and soon we were looking at bras. Dorothy picked up different kinds for me to see. There were lacy, satin, sheer, and silk ones in many styles. Some were more covered, some less. Dorothy was serious and asked, "Which ones would work for everyday use? Which are for special times?" The assistant said, "We have some very stylish ones. I can bring them to the fitting room if you want." I was surprised, but nodded. The assistant asked what styles I liked. Dorothy laughed at me because I got shy. I tried to say she should choose, but she said, "These are for both of us. Help me choose the right ones." I picked 3 lacy ones, 2 with full support, 1 with less, and 2 satin ones for daily wear. I admired the sheer and silk ones for special moments. Dorothy asked about matching bottoms. When the assistant showed us, I suggested the smaller bikini style. Dorothy laughed and said, "For daily, bikini or Brazilian styles are fine, but to make things more exciting, you might prefer these." She held up smaller ones. My favorite was the black silk one. I looked forward to seeing her wear it. She saw the look on my face and picked a deep blue bra and matching panties. The assistant asked if she wanted matching garters. Dorothy looked at me, and I nodded. "Only if you'll wear them." In the fitting room, the assistant measured Dorothy to make sure the sizes were right. Different brands fit a little differently. I watched quietly as she took the measurements. The assistant suggested Dorothy take off her bra to get a better fit. Dorothy's bra wasn't nice. It looked old and stiff. She would need to change a couple of those. The assistant whispered something to Dorothy, and Dorothy nodded. Dorothy tried on the bras and panties. She wore her own underwear underneath, following the rules. I liked all the bras she tried on. My favorite was the pink satin one. The deep blue silk and gray lacy ones also looked great on her. Dorothy needed basic colors too: white, black, and skin tone. I also mentioned a dark red and deep purple I liked. The assistant came back with a big pile of bras, panties, and garters. She asked Dorothy to try on a blue bra. At first I thought it was a normal bra, but it was a special style that showed off more. It had a matching garter belt, too. I just nodded as Dorothy looked at me. I asked, "Other colors?" Later I found out they added dark green and pink. Next, Dorothy tried on a red sheer set. The underwear part was very small. Even over her clothes, she looked amazing. I nodded again, trying not to speak too much. I didn't want the assistant to know how excited I was. Dorothy smiled and asked, "Other colors?" I nodded and blushed. Later I learned they added white and black colors, too. The next outfit took my breath away. It was a black silk set with a bra, garter belt, and French panties. The bra showed just enough. As Dorothy moved, the set caught the light and looked wonderful. I loved it. When she modeled them for me, I was amazed. The assistant suggested a dark blue and black set based on what I liked. I just nodded again. The last outfit was a nurse's uniform in shiny blue fabric. It had zippers on the front, an apron, a small hat, and white stockings. Dorothy even unzipped the top part for a moment. I was so embarrassed but impressed. With the outfit open, Dorothy asked, "Do you want me to have these all, or do you think it's too much?" I stammered, "No, they're perfect for you. I always knew you were beautiful, but these just amaze me." Dorothy smiled and asked, "Should I add some nice nightwear to surprise you? Do you want to pick them, or should I surprise you?" I just said, "Surprise me." I didn't want to walk around the ladies' nightwear section feeling too awkward. The assistant gathered everything and went to get some more items before heading to the nightwear with Dorothy. I tried to calm myself down using the breathing exercises Sarah had taught me. I managed to settle and left the changing room. I met Dorothy and the assistant at the checkout. Most of the things were already packed. I overheard them talking about outfits for some future fun. It made me feel tense again. Dorothy smiled. "Ah, my man with a full wallet. Can you pay?" I laughed and put my card in the machine. As we left, Dorothy said, "It's lunchtime. Want to go to that restaurant you found? It's on the way home." I nodded and laughed. "Why are you laughing?" Dorothy asked. I took a moment. I've found myself nodding a lot lately when it's hard to answer. Belinda started it, and now I try to avoid speaking sometimes. This morning I had to nod so the assistant wouldn't hear how tense I was. Dorothy laughed. "She didn't have to hear it. We both saw it. The last things she picked were meant to tease, and they did. When we were picking out nightwear, she said she envied me. She liked everything about you. As Sarah says, full honesty, I suggested lunch to delay going home because I wanted to spend time with you. I don't think the new nightwear will stop all these feelings I have when I think about you." I just nodded. Dorothy was everything I hoped for and more. When we got home, I helped Dorothy carry the bags to the bedroom. She kissed me and told me to go to the kitchen and put the kettle on. I did, wondering if she planned to surprise me with one of her new outfits. She came downstairs dressed as a nurse, wearing stockings. She smiled when she saw me looking. "I saw you were a little flushed. I thought I should check your blood pressure," she said, gently pushing my chair back and kissing me softly. "Well, your lips look good, but I need to check your heart rate." She took off my polo shirt and put her ear to my chest. Her breath on my skin made me feel warm inside. Your heartbeat is a little fast. I better check your hands for blood flow." She held my hands gently. "Yes, your pulse is faster than normal." Then she moved down and touched my ankles to check my pulse there. I wasn't sure what she was checking for, but the way she touched my legs made me smile. Your pulse feels a bit weak here." "I should check how you're feeling," Dorothy said softly. She sat close to me, her warmth comforting. She wore a special outfit that made it easy to be near me. "We need to stay still to see how you're doing," she said with a smile. Her closeness felt warm and kind. I knew I couldn't stay calm for long. "Dorothy, this feels so nice," I said. She smiled, held my face, and kissed me gently. "Maybe this will help you relax," she said, resting her hand on my shoulder. Her gentle touch made me feel cared for. I couldn't hold back my happiness. I hugged her tightly, feeling so close to her. Dorothy smiled. "You seem to be feeling better. Let's rest a bit and try this again." I tried to speak. "If you stay close, I can make you happy too." Dorothy shook her head with a grin. "My job is to take care of you. Well, have time for me later." Her warmth was already making me feel lively again. "Looks like you're feeling strong," she said softly. She moved gently, and I felt happy again. "Dorothy, this is wonderful," I said. She smiled. "Just let yourself feel good. It's okay to relax." She hugged me tightly, and I felt so close to her again. I couldn't stop my joy. "Boy, Jeremy, you're doing great," she said, her voice warm. "Maybe you can introduce me to your friend Ian. He might help me feel stronger too." After a few minutes, Dorothy stepped back and looked at me kindly. Her gentle touch made me feel alive again. Soon I was feeling strong once more. She stood up and sat close again, her warmth wrapping around me. She took my hands and placed them gently on her shoulders. "Be close to me however you want," she said. "Tell me about your favorite daydream so I can make it special next time." I moved gently, feeling close to her. As I held her shoulders, she seemed so happy. "In my daydream, I come home feeling tired. You tell me to rest. When I come back, you're there taking care of me. You make sure I'm comfortable and stay close to help me feel better." She smiled. "We have a few people with the same symptoms who needed help," she said. As she spoke, she moved gently along my body. Her touch and hair felt wonderful against my skin. When she reached my legs, they were held still. She came back up, turned, and sat close to my face. She moved slowly while I showed my care for her. Her hands moved softly as I tried to comfort her. As I continued, she smiled and focused on being close to me. She then moved and sat facing away, resting gently. I felt close to losing control and couldn't hold back anymore. Dorothy made soft sounds of happiness. "This feels so nice, so good," she said. "I like your idea, but I think there's more. Is there?" I laughed. "Yes. Will you tell me when the time is right? I'd like to share many of them with you." "Only if you share yours too." Dorothy said, "Oh, that's so good. This way feels really exciting. I might feel even more soon." "I'll talk to Sarah. She knows I'm feeling very emotional right now. Some of my own ideas have come up. I want to share them and learn more." I tried to ask about one idea. "What about the one in the hallway?" She smiled softly. "Oh, I think you'll like it. For it to work, I need to surprise you. Can you help me a little? I need to feel close." I was surprised. Dorothy hadn't asked me for that before. But I helped her, feeling close myself. Soon we both felt happy and calm. She moved carefully but with energy. The chair shifted a bit from the motion. I couldn't hold back any longer. I moved with her, sharing the moment. She slowly stood, turned, and sat close again. "Jeremy, this is everything I want to share with you. I don't think I have the energy for more right now. Could we rest together for a while, maybe on the couch or our bed? We'll both need showers later." She held my face gently and kissed me softly. I lifted her carefully and took her to the bedroom. The bed was much bigger. My nurse and I held each other quietly for a long time. Then she frowned. "Oh dear, I promised to make you coffee but didn't." I laughed. "Dorothy, if I had to choose between coffee and being with you like that, I'd pick being with you every time." She laughed. "You're just being kind. I'll make some coffee, and after we finish, we can take showers." I thought I could get used to having coffee served by that nurse. We showered, and even after being clean, I didn't feel ready again. Dorothy didn't seem upset at all. She laughed when she saw my face. "I need a break too," she said. I got dressed while she dried her hair. I sat in the living room when she came down the stairs. She wore a black nightdress that was very thin and light. It showed more than usual. I couldn't help but notice. She smiled when she saw how I looked. "I'll wear this until tomorrow. If you want to spend more time with me, just come over." She gave me a quick, playful kiss. I didn't recognize this side of Dorothy. I smiled and said, "I had an idea, but now I'm not sure. That outfit and offer are something else." Dorothy smiled back. "An idea? Tell me." I touched her face gently. I thought we could go out for dinner and maybe some dancing. You said we should spend time like a couple. Sarah told me to try normal things together. We used to love that, but it has been a long time. Dorothy looked a bit sad. I don't think I'm dressed for that right now. Maybe later, if you wanted to go out with me like this, I might pull it off. But not now, though the thought is exciting. I could change into something simpler, and after we come back, you can ask me to change into this. Or maybe we could just enjoy some time together here, maybe even court by the beach. I laughed. This was classic Dorothy teasing me. She never wore anything like this before, and now she was saying she'd go out like that? My heart wasn't sure it could handle that. Maybe dress in something normal, but wear some of your new lingerie under it. This time, she kissed me deeply. It nearly bruised my lips. I said I needed to go change, but she told me, most of your clothes are still here. No need to rush. I agreed. The next few hours were both good and confusing. Dorothy moved around the room, talked, and sat close to me. She made more coffee, and we talked about more than just our problems. It felt really nice. I even felt excited again. She would look at me, notice, smile quietly. This was not the Dorothy I knew before. Finally, I had to ask, Dorothy, where did this new you come from? Did Sarah say anything to you? I know you have a session on Monday, but have you had one before? Dorothy sat across from me and looked me in the eyes. I found it hard to focus because of how she was sitting, but I tried. Jeremy, she said, I haven't talked to Sarah yet. I need to. I feel overwhelmed by my feelings. Old Dorothy would have run away from all this with you. When I met Belinda on Monday, I wanted to complain about you. But during the talk, something changed. She knew I loved you, but also that we were unhappy. She made it easy to open up. I told her more than I probably should have. I didn't say anything about the fertility test. I told her I want you to be closer to me, but I don't know how to say it to you. I was new to this, but that didn't stop me from wanting to try new things, to work together and grow. She told me about a well-known magazine that had an online group for learning about relationships. I looked at it and realized I had a lot to learn, but I wanted to try more with her. Belinda said Sarah was really good at explaining things and working with couples to improve their love life. We hadn't done anything new since talking with Sarah. The feelings, the settings, and the closeness were new. I wanted to share her special fantasy. Inside, I felt nervous, but when I looked into her eyes, I saw love and happiness. I focused on that. This morning, the helper was kind and encouraging. She noticed how nervous I was and understood what my old bra meant. She whispered that if she showed more attention, it would make things more exciting. If she had, I think it would have been even more intense. She wanted me to know that when I come home, he'll find a loving wife waiting. We will talk about everything and make choices together, as equals. I will be gentle and let her have control sometimes, too. We will decide trips and plans together, not one of us making all the choices. She reminded me that I needed to be clearer about what I wanted, whether it was a holiday, a talk, or just being close, not holding back. I held her close and said, I don't want much more than this. You are so warm and caring. My feelings are still changing, but this I am sure of. I kissed her softly, then with more passion. We were close, and I felt us joining together. She moved beside me and whispered, Be with me. I responded with care, and soon we needed to clean up before getting dressed to go out. Dorothy looked stunning in her dress, showing just a bit of skin, and later, when we danced, her stockings showed above her dress. When we got home, she asked me in but reminded me to be quiet so we wouldn't wake her parents. We spent time close together kissing and touching, but like before, we didn't take it further. After about an hour, she told me it was time to go home. The next morning, I wasn't sure what to do with the day. I grabbed some breakfast and went to see Dorothy. She opened the door wearing a soft nightgown. Anyone walking by would notice. I certainly did. We sat and ate together. Dorothy smiled and said, Looks like my little friend likes seeing me like this. What about you? I laughed and said, We both agree you look great. Dorothy smiled back and teased, I don't know if I should let you enjoy it. I might need to keep things playful or put a little stop if needed. I picked her up and carried her to our room. I was surprised to see some soft straps already waiting. Dorothy laughed and said, I thought about tying you up first, but you got to it before me. Please be gentle, she said softly, her voice playful. I helped her settle comfortably on the bed, placing a pillow under her head. I sat beside her, holding her hands gently. She looked at me, her eyes sparkling with excitement. You've been a bit naughty, I teased with a smile. You need to learn to wait for my signal. If you don't, we'll start over. Understand? She nodded, looking nervous but eager. Yes, you'll try my best. I leaned in and kissed her forehead, then her cheeks. My hands rested lightly on her shoulders. She sighed happily, her breath slow and deep. I brushed my fingers gently along her arms, and she smiled, clearly enjoying the moment. I feel so happy, she whispered. This is so nice, but I might get too excited if you keep going. Wait until I say, I said gently. She tried to stay calm, but soon her joy bubbled over, and she laughed softly. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Your kindness feels so new. It was true she'd never felt this happy so quickly before. I started again, kissing her cheek softly. She was breathing faster now, trying hard to stay calm. I'm really trying, she said, her voice shaky with excitement. I rested my hand on her arm, comforting her. She let out a big, happy sigh, unable to hold back her feelings. I'm sorry I tried, she said, giggling. I helped her sit up and gave her a playful look. I told you to wait, I said, keeping my tone light. I guided her to lie back down comfortably. I kissed her forehead again, my hands gently holding her arms. I stayed close, making sure she felt safe and cared for. Please let me feel that happiness again, she said, her voice full of warmth. I can't wait much longer. I kept being gentle, making her smile with every touch. Her joy was clear and she couldn't sit still. I spoke softly. You have a moment to let your happiness show. I stayed close, counting slowly. She let out a joyful laugh just as I reached the end, her whole body glowing with delight. The bed shifted a little. I gave her some time to calm down. Thank you, she said quietly. I began again using my fingers and mouth. Soon her body moved as she tried to pull away. Please stop. I can't control it, she said. I didn't stop. She kept moving and pulling at where she was held. She was overwhelmed. I touched her gently, and her body tensed as she reached her limit. Then she relaxed and lay back on the bed. I kept touching her softly. Before long, she reacted again with quiet sounds of feeling good. After a moment, I joined her in a closer way. She was ready, but it took some effort to be comfortable. I placed a pillow beneath her to make things easier. She spoke softly. I like this. I'm sorry for what happened before. Do what you want. I wanted to be careful and not rush. At first I thought about things to stay calm, but soon I was caught up in the feeling. After a while I rested beside her, touching her gently. She made soft sounds that showed she enjoyed it. When I felt ready again, I joined her once more with more energy. I kissed her lightly and held her face. I looked into her eyes and saw the care she had for me, a love I hadn't always noticed. Soon, I felt everything build up again. She didn't ask me to stop, so I kept going gently. I used both hands softly, paying attention to what she liked. Her body moved with the touch, and she made soft sounds of pleasure. The bed moved again. I felt ready and moved with her. I was quick this time and then rested on top of her. I kissed her softly. I was finished. I helped her feel comfortable again, and we cuddled quietly. I went to get her a coffee. When I came back, she laughed. I smiled and asked, "What's so funny?" She looked happy and said, "I like that you brought me coffee like this. I love what's changed in you. You were attractive before, but now you're even more so." I laughed. "Yesterday when I saw you, I was surprised by how wonderful you looked. We have never been this close before. I might just stay in that apartment." Dorothy smiled and leaned over. "If you did, you'd miss saying goodbye in the morning at the office. I'd leave a mark just for you. Imagine if someone saw it, would you explain or just laugh? I know you'll stay there for a few weeks. We both need some space to think about what we talked about with Sarah, but I do want you home. I want us to work on our dreams for our home." I looked at her. "Dorothy, I want that too. If someone saw your lipstick, I'd just say, 'Wow, she looks great. What dream would you like to try?'" She blushed and said, I'd like to come to your office and get your attention by slowly taking off some clothes. When I'm down to my stockings, you lift me onto your desk and we spend time together. I'm a bit loud. Then you have me put my skirt and blouse back on. I sit in your office while you have meetings. Between meetings or even during them, I tease you a little. You decide when to be close to me while you have time. I've got to sit there quietly during those times. When you finish a meeting, you notice I'm feeling good. You're still not happy with me, and when we get to the car, you make me take off the blouse and skirt. We drive home. You tell me to wait before feeling good. I have to walk into the house like that. When we get inside, you show me you're upset, and then we spend time together as a way to connect. I looked at her, clearly surprised. I could tell she was nervous. I was also feeling very close to her. I gently turned her and gave her a light tap on her back. You're very bold. We spent time together as I softly reminded her about being playful. We both felt close again. After a while, we rested before she went to get coffee. After we showered, she dressed in that outfit. I raised an eyebrow and she gave a small smile. The time's not up. We had a late lunch. I told her I needed to go to the gym and probably wouldn't be back that day. You have Sarah to think about and what we talked about on Thursday. I have the same. We both need some space, but honestly, the way we distracted ourselves was really something. Dorothy kissed me softly. You're right. I liked feeling like your wife again. But I want more. You want that too. A little time apart now will help us in the long run. As I left, I said, I'll pick you up on Tuesday. Monday's session with Sarah was about my relationship with my mom. It was painful. At the end, Sarah said, you and your mom never really talked about how you feel. You've shouted at each other but not had a real conversation. You need to talk. Maybe here with me so it doesn't get worse. You have so many questions inside, and that keeps the anger alive. I agreed and said I'd ask my mom. I was surprised when she said yes. Dorothy and I had sessions on Tuesday and Thursday. While many things felt good, some parts were tough, like I was being pulled apart. I know she felt the same because of how she looked. We had dinner, and later, we spent time together in the guest bedroom, bathroom, and living room. On Saturday night, we went to the movies. She looked wonderful, wearing a blouse and skirt. I laughed when she slid into the car and I saw she was wearing stockings. During the film, I gently touched her leg where her skin was bare. She accidentally touched me in return, and we shared a quiet moment together. After the movie, I drove to the beach with her. We got close in the car and she said, my parents are away this weekend. Do you want to come over to my place? I kissed her and said, only if you take off your blouse and skirt now. She smiled and said, that's my office fantasy. Thank you. I tried to drive carefully, but I was feeling very excited. The road was busy, and I caught the steering wheel a few times. When we got there, I opened the door for her. She got out slowly, stretched, and walked up to the house. If anyone had been watching, they would have been shocked. Inside, she leaned over the couch, and we shared an intimate moment together. We were very close and connected quickly. Later, we went to bed and spent a calm and tender time together. We held each other until we fell asleep. It felt wonderful waking up with her by my side. She was gentle with me, but I had to wait because I needed to do something else first. After a shower to freshen up, we spent more time together, being close and warm. After lunch, I left for the gym and told her I would pick her up as usual on Tuesday. My Monday session didn't go well. Sarah helped me by having me try relaxation exercises to calm down. At the end, I started to understand what my mother had told me, even though I hadn't wanted to believe it before. My mom explained how close my dad and I used to be, so I never saw his faults. He liked to have a drink after work, but it became too much. They argued a lot, and things got worse between them. He would demand things from her, even when she was not feeling well. The first time she left was when he insisted on being close, even though she was uncomfortable. When he saw she was hurt, he got angry. After that, she left. He told me she was doing something wrong when she didn't come home for a week, but she wasn't. She was waiting for her injuries to heal. This kind of behavior became more common. Whenever it happened, she stayed with a friend instead of her family because it could be dangerous. I spoke to her friend Norma, who even took pictures to help her go to the police. Norma was worried my dad might hurt her more. As he drank more, things got worse, and she almost left for good. She only stayed to protect me because he was sometimes harsh with me too. When she tried to protect me, he turned his anger on her. After those times, he would act very sorry and try to make up for it by being kind to me, like giving me toys I wanted. At first, I didn't remember everything, but with Sarah's help, I saw my mom was telling the truth. When my dad died, I blamed my mom for what had happened. She tried to tell me the truth, but I didn't want to hear it. She had only ever told Norma before. She'd never been involved with anyone else since. She was afraid that if she did, it would ruin everything between us. She hoped that one day we could talk openly like this, and she thanked Sarah for helping make it happen. Mom had been crying, but she was smiling too. Sarah walked her out. I was in tears. We spent some time talking again about everything she had said. Later, I left and spent the next day thinking through all that Mom had told me. I picked up Dorothy, and she could tell something was wrong. I said I would explain later, but it wasn't about us. She felt relieved. When we saw Sarah again, she asked how I was doing. I told her. Dorothy said, "If talking about this helps him work through it instead of us, that's okay. You said it was hurting him, so anything that helps will help us too." Dorothy held me as Sarah and I went over everything: my anger, my pain, and now my deep sadness about how much time I had lost with Mum. Dorothy spoke gently. "Your mum loves you. If you let her in, she will grow again. You two can start fixing things. Sarah can help you both begin fresh." I looked at Sarah and said, "That's a lot to ask, but can you help with that too?" Sarah smiled. "I will help. Have your mum call me, and he'll meet with her a few times. She does love you. Like your relationship with Dorothy, things will change, but for the better." I smiled. "Maybe Greece after all, Dorothy." She kissed me so warmly I felt everything between us was growing stronger. Sarah smiled and said, "I think that as you and your mum heal, a lot of your hidden anger will go away. Dorothy and you have gotten better at talking with each other. Your life together has improved, even if it's been a bit quiet thanks to some guidance. Would you like to make your relationship more exciting? Try new things together?" Dorothy blushed. "Yes, please. I've really liked what we've done more than I thought I would. I know he would like me to try new things. Belinda told me about some helpful information online. She said, and I agree, that I would need someone to guide me. She's positive that Sarah would be great at helping me understand these new feelings. I want to make Jeremy happy if I can. I was scared to try new things because I was afraid I'd mess up. I was surprised when Jeremy said he never pushed me because he didn't want to lose me. I want to know what he likes, how to keep things exciting, and how to make him feel good." She looked at me and said, "I want to make you happy and excited." Sarah asked, "Jeremy, what do you want?" I thought for a moment. "I want us to have a more lively and open relationship. What we have now is good, but if Dorothy wants to not because she feels she has to, I would like to try new things with her." We had joked about dreams and wishes. I was open to those, but only between us. Sarah smiled and said, "I think you both agree. We will talk about closeness. But if anything about how we communicate comes up, we will talk about it. You're still learning." She wrote something down for Dorothy. As we left, Sarah said, "This week, let Dorothy choose what she wants to try. Take it slow and easy. Dorothy, I have a time tomorrow if you can come. We'll talk about ways to do things, and I will show you how to start. Get those and bring them with you." Dorothy had me drive to a small mall. She didn't want me to go into the adult shop with her. It seemed like her first time because she was very shy. She was inside for about 15 minutes. Then she went to a bookstore. We ate, and I took her home. Once there, she held me close, resting my head on her chest. "Let it out, Jeremy. If you feel like crying, it's okay. I see you trying to hold it back. Just let it go." I cried. We didn't share a close moment that night, but the evening helped. The rest of the week, we spent personal time together. Dorothy was in charge. We tried different ways of being close, sometimes gently, sometimes with more energy. We shared slow, tender moments too. She also did something new that made me feel good. I felt happy many times. Dorothy also felt happy. The next week, I took the lead. I used the chance to take walks with Dorothy without her wearing certain clothes. She was comfortable going out like that with me. I think some people noticed. After I asked her how she felt being seen like that, she felt very strong and happy. Our close times were always full of care. We spent time together 3 times a week. I also took an afternoon off to visit my mom. She was glad to see me, and seeing Sarah had helped her. I said sorry for being rough with her before. She held me and said it wasn't my fault. I was young and still dealing with losing my dad. Like Sarah said, we would start fresh and do better. 5 weeks later, Dorothy called my office and said she had something to do but would meet me there. I felt excited. When Dorothy came in, Belinda was there too. I could tell Belinda was worried. Dorothy smiled at Belinda and said, "Can you please leave us alone for a moment? I need to talk with Jeremy." I was confused, but Belinda smiled and said, "He'll be outside if you want me." This made me even more unsure. Dorothy looked at me, almost crying. She said, "Jeremy, I don't know how to say this. We are supposed to be open, but we haven't talked about this yet. We aren't really back together yet. You and Sarah might be upset with me." I felt even more confused. Why would that be? You haven't done anything wrong. We have been close and kind to each other. You have helped my mom and me. "I don't know what you mean," I said. Dorothy took a deep breath and said, "Jeremy, I just came from the doctor. I'm going to have a baby." I was shocked. My mouth dropped open. I saw the fear in her eyes and noticed tears starting to fall. I moved closer and held her close. "I love you, and we'll love our child. This makes me so happy." Dorothy looked at me, smiling but still crying a little. "You're not upset? I'm making you a father even though we aren't together?" "No," I said. "We always talked about having kids. It just took some time until I was ready. We'll ask Ian to help you get strong enough to carry the baby." I opened the door to let Belinda back in. "Belinda, Dorothy is pregnant." She shouted happily and hugged Dorothy. Then she got serious. "I'll help with your work schedule. You need to go to all your classes and take your holidays and the paternity leave you deserve." I laughed. "You'll need someone to cover for you because I'll be working less and you'll take care of the daily tasks. I want to focus on new projects anyway." Then I noticed the look on Belinda's face when Dorothy came in. "How did you know?" I asked. She smiled. Dorothy looked bright even though she was worried about how you'd react. They hugged again. Dorothy gave a small, sad smile. "I guess my little daydream about the office will have to wait for now." Belinda watched her, and I explained. Belinda smiled. "Friday would be a good day. It fits well with everything else." I felt something rise inside me and saw Belinda smile at me. We got ready to go to our session with Sarah. She was happy to hear our news. She gave us more things to work on. Because of the pregnancy, I hurried to get back to the house. I was thinking about asking if I could come home that weekend, but Dorothy was happy I came earlier. Once we were home, Dorothy called her mom to tell her. I called my mom, who was very excited. I have to admit, whatever Dorothy was doing in her private talks with Sarah was helping. Every morning, I could feel that things were getting better. She was learning more and could take better care of us. On Thursday, we talked about how to share dreams and hopes with each other. Sometimes we might think of things that excite us but might not really be something we want to do. Dorothy found this hard, and so did I. Then Sarah said, "Let's look at a situation you both know a bit about." Dorothy talked to me about the shop assistant and the lingerie. You thought it was close to a daydream about Dorothy and another woman. That's a common thought for many men. It can be exciting, right? I laughed. "Very much so," Sarah smiled. "Maybe you imagine being part of it, maybe joining in with both. But what if you could only watch? What if the others were so caught up that you didn't get much attention? Would that be okay for you? What if next time Dorothy said, 'Let me choose who joins us'?" I had to be honest. I don't know. Not being part of it isn't what I hope for. If another man were with her, I don't think I would be happy. Would she want me to be okay with that? I would probably feel jealous. Actually, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Dorothy smiled. When we started talking about this, neither of us wanted to include other people. I liked the situation with the shop assistant because you were there, and I saw how you felt. Sometimes I think about being with another woman, and the idea is exciting, but I don't really want to do it. Just thinking about it is enough. She continued. The idea of 2 men caring for me at once is exciting. It's like a story in my mind. I enjoy what we share so much. I don't need more, but I can imagine other things. I wouldn't want you to do anything like... I thought for a moment and said, Just because we think about certain things, we don't have to actually do them. It's okay to say no. Talking about fantasies doesn't mean we have to try them if one of us doesn't want to. Dorothy smiled again. We've held back for so long. I've talked with Sarah about feeling confused sometimes, but I'm learning what I really want. I want to tell you about the dreams I want to try and some that just excite me, so you can help make them fit for us. There are some ideas I like but wouldn't want to do, like Sarah said. You need to tell me yours too. No thought should be off limits. I asked, which group do the two fantasies you told me about belong to? Dorothy looked pleased. Oh, those I want to try. I'm close to making the first one happen at the clinic. Belinda set up Friday for the other. I was surprised. Did you ask her to arrange a day for that? Dorothy blushed. Maybe I mentioned it. I laughed and looked at Sarah. Belinda made me explain her dream too. She already knew. No wonder she was smiling. Just thinking about it got me excited. We spent the rest of the session talking about some of our ideas at home. Dorothy didn't want to share the one about the hallway yet, saying it would lose its special effect. On Friday morning, Dorothy slowed me down before I left for work. She kissed me gently and left lipstick marks as usual. Then she dressed slowly while I watched. She put on a soft blue bra and a matching belt with delicate stockings. She made sure the stockings were straight. She wore a blue blouse with a few buttons left open so you could see a little. Her navy skirt was short enough to catch attention but still modest. She finished with dark blue heels. She looked very nice. I jumped when she said, "I'm ready, let's go." Her bright smile and eager eyes reminded me of her dream. Today, it was coming true. Belinda greeted us warmly, her smile wide as she handed us our coffees. We went over my day, which would end just after 1. Dorothy sat quietly in the corner by my table. I often worked there, chatting with staff about plans and ideas, feeling more relaxed than at my desk. As I glanced at her, I noticed her dress showed a bit of her leg. She smiled, knowing I saw. It made my heart race. Belinda didn't help, wearing a slightly open blouse that showed her tan from a recent trip. She looked confident, and when she caught me looking, she smiled at Dorothy, who grinned back. They were up to something. My first meeting was in 30 minutes, so Belinda went to her office. As soon as she left, Dorothy stood, walked over, and gently touched my face. "I love seeing you take charge," she said softly. "I want to be close to you." She slowly took off her jacket, her eyes locked on mine, watching me watch her. She stepped out of her shoes, turning to show her graceful figure. I liked how she looked in that moment. She smiled at me warmly. "Want to show me who's in charge?" she teased, sitting on the edge of my desk. I helped her sit comfortably on the desk and leaned in close, starting with a soft kiss on her cheek. My hands gently held her arms. Soon she was laughing happily. "Jeremy, this feels so good," she said, her voice full of joy. Moments later, she bounced with excitement, grabbing my shoulders and laughing even louder. She leaned back, her face glowing with happiness. "That was amazing, Jeremy. Everyone's going to hear how great you are." She started to put her jacket back on, but I stopped her, wanting her to stay relaxed. She sat back down, looking calm but playful, her dress slightly open as she smiled at me. When Belinda returned, she was grinning. "Thought you might need more coffee," she said. She and Dorothy hugged, whispering something that made them both smile. The first meeting lasted 30 minutes. Dorothy kept catching my eye, making it hard to focus. Her smile was bright, and she seemed to enjoy the moment. Dave, my colleague, tried to act normal, but he looked a bit flustered. After the meeting, I had a short break before the next one. Dorothy slid closer under my desk, her hands gently resting on my knees. She smiled up at me, her touch soft and warm, making me feel close to her. Whatever she and Sarah were doing was working. She made me feel excited before moving away. Then she came out from under the desk and sat at the table. Her legs were a little apart, so I could see she was very excited. Belinda came in smiling. She was part of the meeting because it was about a new plan for a client. I think she had opened her blouse a bit more than usual. Her white lacy bra showed, something she hadn't done before. Ian and Donald were also distracted. Ian almost dropped his file when Dorothy moved. I could see a bit of her stocking and some thigh. Dorothy seemed not to notice. She came to my desk and told me we had missed something. She was right. Everyone could see she was very excited. When she licked her lips, I thought she was quietly smiling. As she sat down, we all looked at the seams of her skirt. It slid up a little more when she sat. Dorothy said sorry and pulled it down a bit while looking me in the eye. The meeting ended with Ian and Donald thanking Dorothy for her help. They said if she had more ideas, she could tell them. She agreed. There were 30 minutes before the next meeting. I didn't wait. I pulled Dorothy up and leaned her over my desk, lifting her skirt a little. I didn't really think about her feelings then. She wasn't quiet about how she felt. I don't know how many people heard her asking me to be more forceful. When she finished, I was sure the whole building could tell. I bit her shoulder to keep myself from shouting. Later, I realized I had pulled her clothes in a way that made her very visible. They looked red from the roughness. Luckily, no one came into the office. Dorothy dressed as best she could and went to the bathroom. I did the same. When we came back, a very happy Belinda had more coffee ready. The next meeting didn't last long. Ben, Jill, and Mandy were there. Each of them seemed a little embarrassed. Mandy looked at Dorothy and said, "I hear congratulations are in order. You'll be a great mom. Donald thinks you should be in the office more since Jeremy is so calm." Dorothy smiled and said, "I might make this happen. It's been good for me so far. I've enjoyed catching up on everything. It shows me the staff here is great, so I'll make sure he takes his paternity leave, even if I have to force him to stay home." Mandy and Jill looked surprised. They started to blush, and so did I. Dorothy made sure everyone noticed she wasn't wearing a bra and was wearing stockings. I think Ben also noticed she wasn't wearing underwear because he stopped what he was saying when she turned to him. After the meeting, Belinda came in with some small things and leaned over like she usually doesn't. Dorothy's dress was slipping a little, showing more than usual. I glanced at her, noticing her skirt was high. She smiled, clearly happy. Belinda grinned as I signed the last paper. "Your day's done. Go enjoy yourselves," she said. "You'll have fun with John later. Dorothy, I hope you loved your dream coming true. If you need more ideas, let me know. If this is what Sarah does, I'll book a spot for John and me. Have a great time." As we walked through the office, everyone seemed to notice us. Dorothy smiled and said hello to people. I knew her jacket was still on my desk. When we got to the car, I said, "Take off your scarf and hat." She started to get in, but I stopped her. "You've been playful today. Do as I say. Take them off now before you get in." She looked around. A few people were in the parking lot eating lunch. She carefully removed her scarf and handed it to me. Her smile was bright and confident. She took off her hat too, passing it to me. I admired how cheerful she looked. In the car, I said, "Dorothy, stay happy, but wait until we're home to show it. When we stop, get out and unlock the door. Don't go in until I say. Got it?" She nodded, her eyes excited but a little nervous. "Yes, Jeremy." Instead of the quiet road, I drove through the busy town center. Some people smiled, noticing Dorothy's bright mood. She waved at them, her hands gently touching her hair. A few seemed to enjoy her cheerfulness. One man looked surprised as she smiled widely at him. Her eyes were half closed with joy. I reminded her, "Stay calm for now." In our driveway, I told her to unlock the door while I parked in the garage. She took a deep breath, stepped out, and walked slowly to the front door. I couldn't stop looking at her confident stride. I parked the car and checked the street to make sure no one was watching. Then I opened the door and went inside. After a moment, I called, "Come in, Dorothy." I walked to the bedroom and set out a soft blanket. She watched me, looking a bit nervous but still excited. "Go freshen up in the bathroom," I said gently. "When you're done, come back and rest on the bed." She took a few minutes. I had placed pillows to make her comfortable. She lay down slowly, knowing this was part of her dream. She didn't ask to stop, her smile showing she was ready to continue. I made sure she was secure before I finished getting ready. I spoke softly but firmly. "Dorothy, your behavior today was very wrong. I know these feelings are new to you and sometimes hard to handle, but that does not excuse what you did. I have to give you a punishment." I kissed her deeply and gently moved my hand along her back. Then I gave her a firm but careful tap on her bottom. She cried out softly. I counted each tap out loud. 1, you're 33, 32 more to go. I tapped again. Her skin started to turn pink. Each time, I kept counting. When I reached 10, she was crying a lot. By 20, her bottom was red, and she was struggling a little but still held in the ropes. At 30, she was gasping quietly, no longer shouting. At 33, I moved closer to her and held her gently. We shared a tender moment together. After everything, I was surprised to find she felt comfort just before me. I let her go and held her close, saying, "I love you." Soon after, we slowly and softly held each other, showing how much we cared. Dorothy felt comforted, and we shared quiet, loving moments together. She felt peace and closeness, and we enjoyed being near one another. Later, she turned to me and said, "Thank you. This was my dream and even more. I'd do most of it again, except the spanking part." Sarah asked why I wanted that, and I said I needed to be reminded of how much I had taken from you. We talked about whether it was necessary or just for show. I knew you had to do it for reasons, even if it was hard for you. I think next time a gentle reminder will be enough. I love you. I lay back, feeling very happy, when I felt Dorothy move quietly down the bed. Soon I felt her hand gently touch me. "Dorothy, if you want to play, just tell me," I said softly. She smiled and said, "I want to experience us fully. I've never done this before. I know what I taste like because I've kissed you after. You always said I taste wonderful. I thought it might be bad, so I avoided it. But now I want to try for myself." She began softly exploring, her hand moving carefully. She was gentle and curious. The feel of her touch made me feel excited. She moved carefully and with care, showing tenderness. I told her, "This is so special. It feels amazing. I might get overwhelmed if you keep going." She just smiled quietly and kept going, happy to be close with me. I was gently touching her head and back as she kept teasing me without stopping. After some time, she tried something new, which surprised me. She paused for a moment, but when I didn't say anything except how much I liked it, she kept going. Pretty soon, I felt like I was very close to finishing. I told her, "Dorothy, if you don't stop, you'll finish right here. Come with me." She smiled and stopped, saying she wanted to try something new with me. She wanted to share the moment, something she had not done before. I was thankful we kept things under control, and she smiled before we hugged. I held her close and told her, "Dorothy, that was really amazing. Thank you." She said she had always wanted to try, but was a little nervous. She hoped to try more new things with me in the future. We talked about trying other things later when we both felt ready. After we settled, we took a shower and put on our robes. It was time to eat, so we cooked dinner together. Dorothy looked thoughtful. I asked, "What's on your mind? If you want to talk, let's do it." She took a deep breath. "Now that I'm pregnant, I've been thinking about what we need to prepare and what we want to do. You'll get a list from the doctor soon about classes for soon-to-be parents. Those will take some of our time, but mostly later on, so we can arrange things smoothly. I've also been thinking about our trip to Greece. It can be very hot in the summer, but a couple of months from now, the weather should be just right for beaches and sightseeing. Next year, traveling with a child might be harder. Should we think about this trip again?" I smiled and said, "I agree. Going this year sounds better. Taking a little one might be tough next time. Let's look back at what we planned. Maybe we can add a few extra days so you don't get too tired." I teased her a little. "You haven't mentioned my mom." She looked at me and said, "I know things are better, but I didn't want to assume anything. Having your mom involved is up to you." I smiled and said, "She loves Greece. We can call her and see if she wants to join." Dorothy came close and hugged me. I loved how close we were. We kissed and sat together. She picked up the phone. Mom was happy to hear from us and said she would come over the next morning with a friend who knew a lot about Greek stories. They could help us find interesting places to visit. The next morning was full of good surprises. She laughed at how surprised I looked as she smiled, leaving a mark of her red lipstick on me. My mom came in, looking like a shy young girl. She introduced Simon as an old friend. He seemed interested in her, too. Dorothy shared what we had planned, and Simon suggested a few changes. He knew some small places that were quiet but just as good, maybe even better. He also mentioned some local places to stay that would be nice for Dorothy, near some lovely beaches that weren't crowded. He said that since those beaches were so private, some people might swim without too much clothing. Overall, his ideas added 3 days to our trip but covered all the places I liked. During lunch, we learned more about Simon and Mum. They had gone to school together and were good friends. Mum and Simon's wife had been close too. They often went out as a group with Mum and Dad. That reminded me of a couple who used to visit a lot. It was them. They had helped Mum after Dad died. Sadly, Simon's wife had passed away 2 years ago, and Mum had been there for him. They had always cared for each other, but Mum waited to get closer until she sorted things out with me. She was worth the wait. Mum blushed. The afternoon went by fast. Simon was very kind. He owned his own business and was doing okay with 30 employees. When Mum thought I wasn't watching, she would give Simon a quick kiss. I went to get more wine, and when I came back, I caught them sharing a warm moment. Mum blushed. I laughed and said, "I'm glad you're happy, Mum. Simon seems great. You have my approval." She gave Simon a big hug and kiss. Dorothy gave me one too. Dorothy suggested they stay for a barbecue. We sat on the deck and talked. Simon was very interesting. He loved Greek myths and really knew his stuff. He challenged some stories and said they weren't always true, but if you looked at them in a different way, they could make sense. Dorothy and Mum spent a lot of time chatting quietly together. I overheard words like baby, nursery, and pram. Everyone except Dorothy, who drank soft drinks, had a bit more to drink than usual. It was getting late when Simon said, "I should call a taxi. I had more to drink than I should. I'll leave my car keys here so you can move my car if needed before I come back to get it." Dorothy moved closer to Mum, who nodded. Softly, she said, "Simon, don't worry. We have plenty of room here. Mum and I will get the beds ready. You two just clear up the barbecue stuff." After we cleaned up, Dorothy and Mum were making tea. We all drank a little, and then Mum went to bed. Simon and Dorothy were laughing. Dorothy told him to follow her. She took him to the bathroom and showed him where the towels were, saying he would want a shower after the long day. She pointed to his room and said, "I'll leave a pair of Jeremy's pajamas for you just in case you need them." Dorothy and I tidied up before going to bed. We took a shower together. She dried me, and I dried her. Simon felt better after his shower and went to his room. It had been a good day. May had been playful all day, but best of all, Jeremy and Dorothy had accepted him into his mother's life. When he entered his room, he was surprised to see May lying on the bed, wearing a light nightgown. She smiled at him and said, "Simon, I want you to sleep beside me. Hold me. I want to be close to you, but if that's too much, just holding me is fine." Simon moved closer. "May, you look wonderful. I want to be close to you." Elsewhere, Dorothy was quietly enjoying some cream when they suddenly heard May express her feelings loudly. Jeremy didn't believe it at first, but he heard it clearly. Dorothy smiled and said, "I brought them together. Your mom wanted to, but she was nervous. I think he stepped up when it mattered. They will be good for each other. He's very kind." Jeremy smiled. "Maybe he should come with us to Greece." Dorothy nodded. "No, maybe about it. He's smart, and your mom will be happy. Now, are you ready for the next round? Will you make me feel good like that?" Jeremy pulled her close. "No, I plan to do even better." He kissed her and slowly touched her body, making sure she felt loved and cared for. He focused on her, trying to bring her comfort and happiness. Soon she held his head gently and told him how much she enjoyed it. Jeremy paid close attention and did his best to make her feel special. Dorothy responded warmly. She moved closer, and the love between them was clear. As their connection deepened, they shared a quiet, tender moment together. The next morning, Jeremy woke to find Dorothy smiling at him softly, showing the closeness they now shared. They got up, showered, and went to prepare breakfast. His mother came downstairs and hugged Dorothy. "Thank you. Everything went just like you said. I need to find some nightgowns like that." Dorothy smiled. "We'll shop together. I also need some swimsuits for our trip. I wonder if Jeremy would like me to be more relaxed on the beach." May blushed lightly. "I'll give you space to do what feels right." "I think Jeremy would feel shy if I was there," Dorothy said. We thought about asking Simon to come with us too. He knows a lot and would make the trip more fun. Would you like him to come? Do you think he would want to? May was surprised. We can ask him. I agree. But I don't know what Simon would think if I went without a top or wore less clothing. What will Jeremy think if I do that too? Simon came downstairs, feeling a bit nervous. He wasn't sure how Jeremy would feel about what happened before, but seeing May and Dorothy talking happily helped him relax. Jeremy laughed and said, "I hope you got some rest last night." Simon smiled and said, "A little." He gave May a quick hug and kiss. As they all sat at the table, Jeremy said, "Simon, Dorothy and I talked last night and had the same idea. Mom was asked and said yes too." Simon looked confused. "We want to ask you to join us on our trip to Greece. Mom won't feel left out, and most of all, she would get to spend more time with you. Your knowledge would make the trip better." Simon smiled. "That sounds great, but I don't think I can leave my work. My assistant is about to go on leave, and I'm not sure if she will return. She really runs things when I am away. I need to find someone to take her place, but it's hard to find the right person." Dorothy looked at Jeremy and said, "Belinda is choosing between two people to replace her. Jenny works close to Simon's business, but has trouble with the long trip because she cares for her sick mother. She's very good at her job, so it might work for her. Moira could take Belinda's place, and if we ask Belinda nicely, she might help Jenny when needed." Simon asked, "Is your assistant leaving?" Jeremy laughed. "I hope not. She's going to take on more work at the office, and she does it very well, maybe even better than me. I want to slow down a bit and spend more time with Dorothy and our child when the baby arrives. I want to work more on coding, which I like." She's already thinking about someone to replace her. I think Moira or Jenny would be great choices. Both are organized, speak well, and get along with people. They can help others see the big picture. They are strong and can convince me to try things their way. I would give Jenny a strong recommendation if she applies for another job. I would be sad if she left, but it would help her situation, so I'm happy to support her. Jeremy asked Dorothy, "What do you think it would take for Belinda to agree to our idea?" Dorothy smiled shyly. "She might want us to have some fun like last Friday at the office. It really brightened her up. Also, John is one of the candidates for the promotion when William retires in 4 months. He is the best choice, but you have been unsure about hiring him because Belinda already works with you. I think Belinda would be happy to help without asking for anything more, but some things might change her mind." "I don't know," said Jeremy. "She surprised me a lot when she leaned over like that. She's never shown so much before. She's always been very professional. If you're right and she was interested, next time she might be even more relaxed. What would I do?" Dorothy smiled and said, "Let's keep things fun." Simon and May laughed, though their faces looked surprised. Dorothy looked at Simon and said, "We're learning to joke around, just with each other. I had a little daydream at work, and it really helped." Judging from the others' reactions, they seemed happy with what they heard. "If you want, Mom, when you talk with Sarah, ask her for advice on how to make your personal life better. It sounds like he knew what he was doing. Take Simon with you. She's very smart." "Do you think it would be a good idea to interview Jenny? I can call Belinda and she can tell you more about her." "Jenny is very good," Dorothy asked. Simon nodded. "She sounds much better than anyone I have interviewed so far, but I don't think it will work for your holiday plans. The timing is tricky. We would have to arrange an interview and she would need to give notice at her job. She wouldn't be available for training, so I wouldn't be able to join you." Jeremy took out his phone. "Belinda, sorry to bother you on a Sunday. Can I have a few minutes? There are some things I want to talk about. He'll put you on speaker. Dorothy, my mom, and her friend Simon are here too." Belinda replied, and John's voice came in too. "Dorothy, thank you. We had a great time. Hope you did as well." Dorothy and Jeremy laughed. May said, "We need more details." Dorothy, blushing, said, "Later. Let's help Simon and Jeremy now." Jeremy smiled. "Belinda, Simon owns his own business and needs a new assistant. The one he has now is going on maternity leave and won't be coming back. His business is near Jenny's home. Do you think she might want to consider it because of her situation? Maybe she would want to take your place," Belinda asked. "What kind of business does Simon have?" John added, "Is that Simon Brown? I think his company is near Jenny's place. If it's him, I say ask her. I've done business with him. He is like you, Jeremy, and treats his workers very well. Simon said, "Thank you, John. Yes, it is. Jeremy has spoken highly of Jenny, who sounds perfect. Do you agree, Belinda?" Belinda answered, "Yes, I couldn't decide between Jenny and Moira. Both are great. But Jenny looks after her mum, and the trip to work is hard for her. Sometimes I have to work late, and she would have to find help for her mum. Being close to home would make it easier for her." "I can call her and set up a time for you to talk with her," Jeremy said. "If we said 9 a.m. and she gets the job, she could start right away. We'll still pay her notice, but it would help Simon and us if she began right away. Is that okay with you, Simon?" Simon looked surprised. "That would be great, but it depends on what Jenny wants, and that's important." May gave him a hug. Belinda said, "I'll call Jenny. What was the second thing?" Jeremy smiled. "John, you were the best choice by far, so my assistant will send you the contract forms tomorrow." They all heard Belinda cheer happily, and what sounded like her hugging John. John said, "Thank you. I'm looking forward to it." Jeremy laughed. "You might not. Belinda's going to get more involved in running things, so she might make things harder for you like she does for me." Belinda said, "If that's how you see me, I'm going to sit and do nothing today." Dorothy laughed. "Okay, you want to push for more. John says you were really happy. How about we try it again? But this time you dress like me, and when we leave, John spends the afternoon with you in Jeremy's office while you have your meetings." Belinda gasped. "Okay, where is Dorothy? Where have you hidden her? You're mean. Mom, you and I are having lunch, and you'll tell me all about this." John asked, "What do you mean, dressed like you?" Dorothy laughed and said, "I have to go back to the office to grab something I forgot." May laughed a lot. John and Simon were shocked. Belinda quickly added, "I'll call Jenny and tell her. I hope she doesn't figure out what John is up to with me. I'll call back, but I might get distracted." Half an hour later, Belinda called back, out of breath. "John liked my new office dress. He said it worked well when I spoke with Jenny. She'll be there tomorrow at 9 a.m. She's very happy. How about lunch on Tuesday, Dorothy? Usual place and time." Dorothy said, "Yes, if John isn't willing, tie him down and make him listen." "Wow, that's an idea. See you tomorrow, Jeremy." May asked, "What has got everyone so excited?" Jeremy pointed to Dorothy. "You brought it up, so you explain." He started to blush. Dorothy told them what happened. May blushed, and Simon's eyes grew wide. May said, "Sarah helped you with that? I think I'll need to talk to her." Jeremy added, "It was mostly Dorothy and Belinda. Sarah may have helped boost her confidence, but it was great." Dorothy smiled and said softly, "When we're in Greece, there might be chances to swim without swimsuits. Would you want me to? Simon might see me with others. I noticed how hard it was for you in the car when you thought I wasn't watching as we passed those people." Jeremy blushed. "I'm not sure. It's a nice idea, but maybe it's something we won't do." "Simon and Mum might not want to either," May said. "If it made Simon care about me more, I might think about it. But I'm more worried about what you think of me." Jeremy smiled. "I love you. I haven't said that enough. You're beautiful. If you want to tease Simon, go ahead. Like Sarah said, both have to want it." They talked about the holiday. Simon would confirm after he spoke to Jenny. Dorothy had all the details and would talk to the travel agent to book everything once Simon said yes. May and Simon left after lunch. Dorothy teased Jeremy while he worked in the garden. When he came inside, he found her waiting in the bedroom. She was very close to him and said slowly, "I want us to be together calmly. I want to watch you, to feel close to you." Jeremy moved to kiss her, but she gently stopped him. "No touching, just slowly being with me," she said. Jeremy moved closer, and they shared a quiet, gentle moment together. She smiled and held him carefully. She was slow, and they took their time. She used soft touches to show how much she cared. Soon things became more passionate, and Jeremy lost control. Afterward, she turned him gently and said with a smile, "I told you to take it slow. You went too fast. You need a little lesson." Jeremy tried to answer. "You started it. You teased me while I was outside. You moved in a way that made me faster. It's not all my fault." Dorothy leaned over and kissed him. "This is the court speaking. You're at fault." Jeremy felt his arms being lifted before she removed something. She looked at him with a strong look that showed how much she wanted this. Jeremy relaxed, not knowing what was next. Then his legs were gently held. Dorothy started close to his face and moved carefully down. She made sure he felt every soft touch, using light movements that made him shiver. She moved gently, teasing and taking care. As she kept going slowly, she said quietly, "I want to know your full nurse story and the other one you keep in your mind. Only when I'm sure I know everything will I let you rest." Jeremy tried to be careful, but she wouldn't let him avoid talking. "Tell me everything, or you can't relax." After a long time, feeling both close and held back, he spoke softly. "In the other story, you wear a wig and different makeup. You dress more like an escort than someone from the street. I've made plans for you. Your outfit is nice, fitting you well. We have a drink before dinner. You're not wearing a bra, so I can see how excited you are like I am. You accidentally show off your stockings, so some people nearby notice. Maybe your underwear is seen too. They like how you look. They wish they were me. We go to get some food. You playfully make fun of me. After we finish, we have another drink at the bar. You go to the bathroom. When you come back, you hand me your underwear as a little gift. Many people see it. You sit on the bar stool, your stockings and legs showing more than before. After the drink, we go back to the hotel room where you take charge. You help me in a caring way, making sure I'm feeling okay. You check my body carefully to see how it works, helping me relax. You touch me gently and we share close moments. The next time, you want to see if I can move properly. You hold me firmly until we both feel good. You stop just before I finish and say, "You're not telling me everything. Tell me or I will keep making you wait." You playfully touch me, making me gasp. "Sarah said we can talk about anything, so don't be embarrassed. What do you want?" I say carefully, "I'm not sure what you will think. I have been thinking about you sitting close to me and helping me in a new way after we are together. I started thinking about it more since you have been caring for me so tenderly. The nurse would agree." You look at me and say, "That's not strange. It feels like sharing something special. I never let you kiss me after certain moments because I thought it would be too much. But now I understand sharing like this is about love. You'll try it today if you want. But if you don't like it, just tell me and we will stop." I say quietly, "Okay, you can do the same. If you're not comfortable with something, just say no." You gently kiss me and take your time. You make me feel good, and this time I let myself relax fully. I feel you move close and hold me. When I open my eyes, I am smiling. Wow, you're really good at this. You lean in and kiss me softly. I taste something familiar and new. You smile and sit up, and I notice how beautiful you are. It took me a while to get used to this feeling and taste. I will only keep doing it if you're happy. I smile back. I wasn't sure at first, but it's okay. We can keep trying, and if either of us feels uncomfortable, we stop. You look at me warmly. Tomorrow we have our sessions with Sarah. I think I'm ready to share what we've been doing, but I want to check with her first. I'm feeling more comfortable with what we're doing and more in control of my thoughts. I've been reading the book she told me about, and I'd like you to read it too. Sometimes we could read it together. One thing in it caught my attention, but I'm not sure how you'd feel about it. Tomorrow night, I think I'll tell you everything. Now I'm going to play with you again. You can stop anytime as long as you agree to take me to see Ian on Tuesday when I come for lunch with Belinda before we see Sarah. If you don't, you might be here a long time." Jeremy smiled. "I'll make the appointment tomorrow." Dorothy soon made him feel very excited. She moved slowly. "This is what I meant," she said. "I can see your skin shine as you feel warm, the feeling as I touch you. I see love changing to desire, but I am still in control. Would you feel different if I was wearing that fancy bra and matching clothes? Would it excite you more? Would you want to be more active with me? How far would you want to go? Are there things you'd like to try that we haven't talked about? Would you want others to see me? Maybe at the beach? Did you want some to see me when we were in your office? Ben might have. I didn't mean for that to happen. What would you want to try that we haven't spoken about? So many questions, and we'll have fun figuring it out. I love you very much." She moved more strongly now. Some of her questions made him even more excited, and he didn't hold back. He moved as much as he could. She held on to him. I loved that. I love when you can't stop yourself. It means you really want me. She then shifted until she was facing him and slowly sat down. She moved gently as he paid attention to her, telling him what she felt. Soon she felt very happy and nearly pushed him down on the bed. The next day, Jeremy went to work feeling very happy. Dorothy's progress was going well. It was just after 10 when he got a call from Simon. Jeremy, Jenny was everything and more than Belinda and you said. She doesn't think she can stay. She also said I should talk to you because you have software that could help my company. I laughed. Okay, I have a quiet day and I'm due at Sarah's for my session at 4 p.m. Belinda and I will come to you soon. Tell Jenny I'll be there and to wait for me. Belinda's day had started well. She was happy that some staff noticed Jenny wasn't around and asked if Jenny's mother was okay and if help was needed. She explained the situation. Everyone was sad thinking Jenny might leave. Belinda asked Moira to come into her office. Moira was surprised by the new job Belinda offered her. They were still talking when someone knocked and I came in. Moira asked me, "Are you sure?" I smiled and said, "Moira, you will do great. Belinda will help train you. Has she said anything about casual Fridays yet?" Belinda laughed. "He wishes. But after last Friday, I think everyone went home in a good mood. Maybe we should think about having casual Fridays in the office." I started to blush. Moira and Belinda laughed too. I decided to change the subject and told Belinda about Jenny and Simon's request. She had a few phone calls to make, but Moira could have her office and handle things. After she explained what needed to be done to Moira, we went to Simon's office. Jenny could not believe we had let her go without much notice. I explained that she was actually doing me a favor, but only if she wanted the job. She said yes. Simon was very kind and told her that if her mother needed her, she should take care of that first. The shorter commute would make her life much easier. Belinda surprised Jenny by saying how many people had asked about her and offered help if needed. I added that we would pay her during the notice period since she deserved it. Simon's assistant, Ashley, was happy with Jenny staying, as Jenny did not want to leave Simon without help, but she also wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Everyone felt good about the plan. Jenny explained why some of our software might help Simon's business, and we looked at all the options. In the end, we offered a full package that covered everything Simon needed and gave him more options to grow his business. As we left, Simon said, "Thank you for Jenny and for the work you will be doing. It will make things much easier, and we can grow the business better. I know when I take a holiday, I can relax knowing Jenny, Ashley, and Belinda have everything under control." We headed back to the office. Moira had managed well while we were gone. I had lunch, called Dorothy to book the holiday, and as Moira said, I really needed to go to the gym. Then I went to see Sarah. She was happy, and our talk went well. We could have finished about 20 minutes earlier, but she brought up something else. "Jeremy, I think we are almost done with our one-on-one meetings. Since you have been sorting things out with your mom, you seem much calmer, happier, and you listen better. Dorothy is feeling better too. She told me I could share some of what we talked about beyond our sessions. Her first times were not good. The boys didn't know what they were doing, just like she didn't. They weren't thoughtful and sometimes took out their anger on her. Because of that, when she wanted to be close to you, she heard those voices saying she was no good. She stopped trying because she felt if she failed, it might push you away. She has been holding herself back ever since. She has grown a lot because she was willing to learn and practice new ideas. Also, you followed the simple approach I suggested, which helped. Now she feels ready to be the partner she wants to be for you. Our sessions together will work on your relationship, but good communication is very important. Some of her thoughts seem strange to her, and she needs your support to understand they are okay and normal. Sometimes she might think that every exciting thought means she wants to act on it, like a teenager. Let her explore new ideas, but gently guide her when things go beyond what you both feel good about. Remember, it's okay to say, "I need to think about this," as well as yes or no. She will show you the book I suggested and maybe some things that go with it. Use these for yourself and together. I think one session a week for about a month should be enough. Then maybe one every 2 weeks for another month. Look at Chapter 3 when we meet tomorrow. Try Chapter 1 on your own this week and compare your answers with hers. Use it to help you both move forward. Like everything, it will change over time. I answered carefully. Last night she said some things that made me wonder. If I understand you correctly, she might be less careful than me when she suggests things because everything is new to her. I should guide her, but also tell her she can say anything without fear of judgment. Sarah smiled. That's perfect. You might even bring up ideas she never thought of. Communication is the key. When 50 Shades came out, I saw many couples where one partner wanted to try things because it was popular, but the other was afraid. Sometimes the man was so nervous he couldn't respond well. You have your whole life ahead, so it's better to take time and get it right instead of rushing. I laughed. He'll do that. Some things she said last night excited me but also confused me. We will talk more about why she mentioned them. Nothing was bad or rude, just surprising from her. Sarah smiled. Remember, one reason things went wrong before was that you didn't say no in a way she could understand. You have a voice too, not just her. After our meal, Dorothy shared what she thought were her failures and why. She had been meeting with Sarah and, with her help, was learning new skills, gaining confidence, and clearing her mind of negative thoughts that had bothered her before. She knew she still had many feelings inside and needed me to help her understand which feelings were good to follow and which were not. She wanted to learn more about my dreams so she could make them real for me. She surprised me when she told me about her third dream. I told her I would think about it. I smiled and held her close. Dorothy, we'll have some homework with Sarah to help us learn more about our feelings and needs. Let's start there. If any of the homework brings up something new or tricky, we'll talk about it. After working with Sarah for a while, we'll know how to talk to each other better. I really like what we've been doing together. Dorothy looked worried. You're not upset that I haven't tried the fantasy about the other woman? I know it's one of your favorites. I gave her a hug. We need to talk about it before trying anything, but only if you want to. We have all the time in the world to explore these things. I gave her a gentle kiss, which led us to the bedroom. Dorothy was very happy afterwards. I can't explain how she made me feel so close to her. We shared quiet moments and rested together, feeling good. The next day's session with Sarah went well. It was about playful teasing and waiting. Dorothy really took it to heart. She gently restrained me and kept me guessing until I shared my top 10 dreams. The next night, it was my turn to return the favor and gently hold her. Her favorite dream involved a visit to a clinic. I took my time, making sure she felt safe and cared for. She told me how much she liked it as we shared the moment together. We spent time close, sharing our feelings and touching softly. We felt very connected. I was happy to see that she enjoyed the experience even more than she expected. About 10 days later, Moira told me I had a meeting at a local hotel at 5:30 p.m. It would take most of the evening. I asked if she was coming with me. She smiled and blushed a bit, but Belinda said they wouldn't be coming this time. Moira laughed. I arrived and went to the lounge as I was told. As I walked in, a tall, beautiful woman came up to me. She was almost my height, even on her high heels. She had long, dark hair down to her waist and wore a smart, well-fitting suit. The jacket showed a bit of her figure, and her skirt was short and neat with stockings beneath. She introduced herself as Emily after checking I was her client. The word client caught my attention. I studied her more closely. Her eyes were a different color than Dorothy's, and her makeup was done very professionally. We had a drink at the bar. Many people looked at us with envy. She was very attractive as she sat on the bar stool. Her skirt moved a little higher, showing the tops of her stockings. She gently licked her lips. As we talked, the skirt went up a bit more, and I could see a glimpse of her undergarments. Some men who came in seemed to notice as well, their conversation stopping for a moment. She smiled. I have a room ready when you want, or I can keep teasing you a little more. She took off her jacket, showing a thin blouse underneath. It gave a glimpse of her figure. I finished my drink, admiring her before I took her hand, and we went to the restaurant. She never put her jacket back on. I noticed some people stared at her, surprised, then quickly looked away, probably wishing they were with me. The service was very good. After eating, we went back to the bar for another drink. Her skirt rose a little again. Before we left for her room, she stepped away for a few minutes. When she came back, she left a small piece of clothing on the bar as a little gift for me. Nearby, a couple of men looked shocked. Others smiled. Her skirt moved gently again. As we walked to her room, I could tell she was getting some attention because of how confident she looked. In the room, we spent some quiet and happy moments together. She made me very happy several times. I had to help clean her face afterward. I fell asleep feeling good. When I woke up, I was alone. I took a shower and went home. Dorothy asked why I was late. I said I had a long business meeting that wore me out, so I took a nap afterward. I pulled her close, saying, "You were amazing. Everything I hoped for and more." Dorothy looked surprised. "What are you talking about? I spent most of the day with your mom going over the holiday plans and picking out swimsuits and new clothes. I was home before you got here. What really happened?" I was shocked because I really thought I had been with Dorothy. I chose to tell her the truth about everything. When I finished, she laughed. I picked her up, took her to our bedroom, and gave her a light, playful spanking until she turned a little red, then showed her lots of affection. I tried to be close again, but I wasn't able to. She whispered that she would help me as much as I needed until things felt right. We talked about becoming closer in every way, and that when we were ready, it would feel complete. Belinda and Moira noticed I looked very tired the next morning. Over the next few months, we worked with Sarah to improve how we shared ideas and understood each other better. I had to learn new ways to show affection and care. Dorothy was learning too. One night, she surprised me, and we shared a special moment together. I thought I might have done something wrong because she was very relaxed afterward, but it turned out I helped her feel really good in a way she hadn't before. About 10 days later, I felt the whole strange dream I had was finally over. Belinda and Moira thought I was pushing myself too hard because I looked so worn out. I couldn't wait for my holiday to arrive. I could easily see from how their eyes twinkled that they understood why I was so tired. John was looking the same these days. Belinda and Moira seemed happy. Our time together was slowing down to about 4 or 5 nights a week. Dorothy came to the office every other Friday for a few months. Those meetings went very well. We never invited anyone else to join us. Belinda liked to joke around with me, and Dorothy enjoyed my reactions. Belinda spent the afternoons teasing John. Moira joined in and teased both of us. It was rare for anyone from work to miss on Fridays. John and I shared notes about these meetings. Belinda was more relaxed with John. She liked to be close to him between meetings. After those times, they would be together at my desk. I once told John how Dorothy got dressed in the car on the way home. The next Monday, Belinda came in with a shy smile. Dorothy later told me that Belinda had been so excited in the car that she almost acted on impulse during a stoplight. They spent the whole weekend enjoying each other's company. Our trip to Greece was everything we hoped for. We all got along very well. Simon's knowledge made visiting the places even better. He and my mom really enjoyed the trip. On one beach during the first week, Dorothy and my mom felt shy because they were the only 2 women wearing swim tops. Their tops were very small, something they hadn't worn before. They got more looks than the women without tops. I think it was because of their figures. After talking, they looked at Simon and me and took off their tops. I was surprised. My mom's figure was just as nice as Dorothy's. Simon just said, "Wow." After that, they rarely wore the tops again. On a couple of quiet, small beaches where it was just us, we chose to be without any clothes. The small dunes made sure no one could see us during private moments, though sounds might have been heard. We all had a good time. The nights were lively, too. It was the best holiday ever. We added some extra days so Dorothy could rest, which worked well. But rest was sometimes hard to find. Dorothy was just 5 weeks away from giving birth. The baby's room was almost ready. We don't put the stroller out until the baby is home, following old ideas. She looked even more beautiful. Because of her back, some things were harder, but she was always willing to find ways to be close. If I rubbed her legs and put lotion on her stomach, she was happy to be close in other ways. We found positions that worked as long as I didn't take too long. She kept telling me she would make up for it later. I smiled and said, "You already have. I love you." My mom and Simon now live together. With the help of Dorothy's family, her mom and sisters, we have everything ready for the baby. We know that our time together will change, but we will find moments for ourselves later. I realize this is longer than I thought it would be. Some might wonder what happened with the hallway idea. When I got home, I found someone waiting for me, a girl ready to help, like a faithful friend. She wore a simple cloth tied around her waist, covering herself modestly. She knelt on the floor, looking down. I told her to clean me. New helpers need some practice. I reminded her to keep her eyes lowered. After I was clean, I had her lie back on the bed with her head near the edge. She opened her mouth as I leaned close. She sometimes struggled but kept trying. When I finished, I lightly tapped her to encourage her to keep improving. I asked her to prepare my meal and feed me. If she didn't do it right, I let her know she needed to do better. Each time she hesitated or moved away, I took note. After my meal, I tapped her the same number of times. I then spent time with her, not focusing on her feelings. When she was slow bringing my tea, I reminded her again. To show she wanted to help, I had her do the cleaning gesture once more. She slept at the bottom of the bed, ready in case I needed help during the night. I woke up with her attending to me again. Somehow, she had hidden the red lipstick, and I went to work with it in place.